talkSPORT Sports Update, powered by the Nissan Van Range. Commercial vehicles that go the distance for your business. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
With the headlines at 2 minutes past 10, I'm Nick Ellaby. Good morning. Thomas Frank has left the door wide open for Harry Kane to return to Spurs, saying he's welcome back any time. talkSPORT's Adrian Durham told us the question was asked, but there's a reason why he said that.
Thomas Frank might be thinking to himself, I want this out there. If he does want to come back, then let's bring him back next summer. I can't actually see it happening next summer unless Bayern Munich win the Champions League. I think that's the big thing for Harry Kane.
Kane would probably need at least another 3 Premier League seasons to become the Premier League's all-time top scorer. He's 47 goals off Shearer's record. Hugo Ekitike has apologised to Liverpool fans, but it's too little too late for Arne Slot.
I would have turned around and walked up to, in this situation, Federico Chiesa and say, this goal is all about you. This is not about me.
Ekitike got a second yellow for taking his shirt off to celebrate his winner over Southampton in the Carabao Cup. He's now suspended for the Palace game this weekend. Now, talkSPORT's Double Ashes winner Steve Harmison says Will Jacks's surprise Ashes inclusion is as much about Stokes as it is about spin.
Even though it's a surprise, because he covers quite a few bases if England need a plan B for Stokes or a spin bowler if we don't think it's going to spin that much that can lengthen our batting.
And Boris Becker has told talkSPORT his survival mentality learnt on the tennis court helped him through prison.
I couldn't just say, I'm going to give in. I'm going to give up. I have to find a way. And I think that was something that helped me on a tennis court a lot.
Boris Becker served 8 months at HMP Wandsworth following a fraud case. You can watch his full interview back on the talkSPORT YouTube page.
talkSPORT News.
It says migrants in UK asylum hotels are getting taxpayer-funded taxis to appointments, and the UK says it's ready to act after Trump called for NATO countries to shoot down Russian planes. More from the news team at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. Buy 2 or more Bridgestone Turanza all-season 6 tyres and claim Bridgestone's massive 20,000 mileage guarantee. Visit quickfit.com and book today. Conditions apply.
Early fog and frost clearing, leaving a largely dry and sunny day. Turning cloudier this afternoon with a few light showers around in the south, breezy in the far northwest and southeast.
Good morning, everybody. You're listening to Jim White, Simon Jordan and Danny Murphy. We are live on talkSPORT. So no major Carabao Cup shocks, but a bizarre red card takes the headlines at Anfield. Which is more stupid, the law around taking your shirt off or Hugo Ekitike? Meantime, the Ryder Cup. Does it mean more to the Americans? How patriotic do you get for Team Europe? Also today, are Guardiola and Arteta both right in their defence of critics? Is expansion only ever a one-off? Newcastle's lack of X factor, is it a problem of their own making? And how far back in time should someone be allowed to go to right what they perceive to be a sporting wrong? Jim White, Simon Jordan and Danny Murphy, and we're live on talkSPORT.
100% engagement.
Jim White and Simon Jordan on talkSPORT.
Wednesday, the 24th of September. The 24th of September. Yes, Ali McCoy's birthday, but Simon Jordan's birthday as well. Danny Murphy, happy birthday to Simon Jordan.
Fantastic, thank
Happy
you.
birthday.
Theo Pafitis' birthday as well.
Oh, your mate, Theo.
Yep, I'm the youngest by a mile of the other two.
I see. Okay, so you're pushing your late 50s, maybe. You're catching up with
Mid
me.
to late 50s, yeah.
Okay.
It's bad enough that I have to get constantly compared to the old geezer from Up because of these glasses. I'm now sitting in a chair where I'm almost touching the floor. I'm like an old git. The one thing that I was pleased about
Go on.
is that I'm still 5 years younger than the average age of a football club chairman.
Oh, really?
25 years ago when I bought a football club. The average age of a football club chairman was 5 years older than I am now.
I see.
When I bought a football club 25 years ago.
Well, Danny, as we know,
Claim to fame.
on this very show, he has made some wild claims about his sporting prowess. And we literally have gone to some lengths to find some pictorial evidence of what he has and hasn't done. In the sporting landscape. Now, if you're listening live on talkSPORT, we'll try and explain this. There we are. If you're watching at the moment on TV, then he tells us he was a skateboarder of
significant repute.
Yep. I believe him. Actually, I do believe him.
There he is. That was you were taking part. That was with Team GB in 2012.
With
wasn't
my friend Tony Hawk beside me.
That was magnificent. You did so well. Look at those leg muscles. And of course, was he a decent cricketer? You bet he was. There he is coming off at Lord's. Everybody. He was. I think he did knock up 100 that day. Yes, that was Simon after a very lengthy innings, but still looking fresh. Ballon d'Or winner. You bet he's
like
been
John
a
Textor
Ballon d'Or winner. How about that? That was just a few days ago over in Paris.
They're not flattering images, are they?
He was picking up the Ballon d'Or award. You'll love this. You've got to watch it later. And county standard tennis player. But no, there he is at Wimbledon, getting down to a fairly testing ground shot.
You look like an old fiddler there. Worse,
it is magnificent. And you scored at Wembley, so you tell
I gave you that video the other day. Why aren't you playing that?
I don't know. I'll find. We'll play it up in Scotland when we get up there. It's a bit grainy, but there you are, holding none other than the World Cup close to your chest.
You, mate. There you go.
Won by England way back in 1966. But you're right, and we bow to your sporting talent.
Why is there not one with him with his javelin?
What about paddle? You can bring paddle in it because you've seen that for yourself, and you can't take the mickey out of it.
You're not bad at paddle tennis. I have to say, I've seen that.
On the Baron Munchausen
old man's game.
How do you feel? Because not that long ago, you gave us all a hell of a fright because you had a bit of a health scare. More than that, Simon.
All good.
Of course it was.
I've got a beautiful young son, so I'm very blessed.
Happy birthday.
Thank you, mate. Thank you very much.
Happy birthday. Great to have you with us this morning. And to everybody, Alan McCoist is the same. To everybody out there, Theo Pafitas, happy birthday. To everyone who has a birthday today, a very happy birthday. You share it with some significant people. Ali got a lot of messages when he was on there this morning. I'm looking down. Nothing. Not one. If you want,
good. That's the way I like it.
If you want to,
didn't Eddie Hearn send one in?
If you want to wish the youngest and best looking ever Premier League chairman, then you can. Simon Jordan is right beside Mr. Murphy and myself. 81089. If you want to wish Simon birthday, and Danny and I will completely overlook them. No, we won't. We will pass them on and. Pass them on. There's one from David Johnson. Thank you for that, David. Happy 60th, Simon. No, I think you've got a bit.
Few years to go, yeah.
He's got a few more to go there. But happy birthday to you. So, Simon, let's hear Danny on last night, because a night of no real shocks in the Carabao Cup, but a bizarre red card takes the headlines at Anfield. I mean, Danny, I've got to say, Ekitike replaced Isak at halftime. He was booked for punching the ball in the air soon after his introduction. Then, after tapping in the winner, he took off his shirt, held it to the cop, and that saw him get a second yellow. Two yellows make a red, and off he went. I mean, we'll get Danny's taking it in a moment, but Arne Slot summed it up.
If you score in the Champions League final in the 87th minute after outplaying 3 players and hitting it in the top corner, I can maybe understand that you say like, this is all about me, what did I do? But I'm old-fashioned, I'm 47 and old, maybe. And I haven't played on this level, but I did score a few goals. And if I would have scored a goal like this, I would have turned around and walked up to, in this situation, Federico Chiesa and say, this goal is all about you. This is not about me. So yeah, needless, not smart. You call it stupid. I call it stupid, by the way, as well.
Whoa, good for Slot. What do you think, Dan?
So refreshing, isn't it? To not jump to the defence and make excuses. Exactly what he said. You know, it wasn't a 30-yarder in the top corner. It was a tap-in after Chiesa put it on a plate for him. He seems to have a bit of a bee in his bonnet when he come on. I mean, he's had a wonderful start. The fans have taken to him. He's got 5 goals.
Presence of Isak breathing down his neck.
A little bit. It felt that way. Like, I'll show you. Look, here's my shirt. Here's my name. It's about me. And
you disappointed in him?
He's a young guy. He's emotional. It happens. You know, if that's the worst thing he does in a Liverpool shirt, nobody will care. The actual output physically on the pitch and the goal scoring has been great. There was some positives actually last night. Southampton played well.
Yes, yeah.
They give a good account of themselves. Chiesa was terrific.
Yeah.
The young Italian boy Leone.
Yeah.
Good debut.
Ekitiki's 23, Danny. It's not as if he's 18.
Just not had a lot of regular first team.
Starry-eyed around the place.
No, but it's been a lot in a short space of time, hasn't it? He's kind of taken off straight away. So 23 is young.
What did you think slot there, Simon? Is that right up your street?
Well, yes, I think it's also the product of someone that's in control of a dressing room because you've got a winning team. You've got a team that's he's walked through the door, they've won the league. They've started this season now with 5 wins in the Premier League. They're top of the Premier League. They're not playing particularly well, but they're still top of the Premier League. And so with all that in mind, that's the currency that he gets. I wonder if he'd have done this 5 games into his first season and they hadn't established the credentials, maybe he would. But you have to call it for what it is. It's honesty. It's a bit of authenticity. It's what he thinks rather than what he thinks he should say to keep a dressing room on side. That dressing room is on side, A, because he's got an embarrassment of riches, because if they don't come on side, he'll change them anyway, which is kind of what the PSG coach's mentality is anyway, isn't it? Enrique, you come training late, you don't play.
Yeah.
And that mentality is only allowed to you if you've got an embarrassment of riches. But notwithstanding that, put all that to one side, it's nice to hear it. It's what people know, it's what people think, it's what people should say. And also, everyone should have to bend over backwards to pamper the egos of young players that can't take a bit of criticism when they do something stupid. So well done him.
Whether he would have or not, but he's apologised, hasn't he? He's come out and apologised, Ekitike.
Yeah, playing for a big club. And
it's done. It's done. It's under the carpet.
Ekitiki's lost, Danny. Is it now? Alexander Isak's gained off the mark with a debut goal. He's now got a free run, if he likes, for a starting spot, hasn't he?
Well, I still think there'll be lots of game management from the manager in regards to minutes to both of them because they've got Galatasaray. I think they're in Galatasaray next midweek, and then Chelsea away the weekend after. So he's going to get, a little breather on the weekend. But yeah, it's not ideal because he's scoring goals and playing well. You want your best when they're playing well. You want your best players available, but he'll have to suffer it. I think Andy Robertson spoke brilliantly after the game as well. He just said he won't do it again.
Yeah,
it was also taken, if it is a problem, because I don't think it would be a problem for a manager of Slot's calibre and presentation, but it's taken one conundrum off the table about how he breaks it to him that he wants to put Isak in the team because he's paid 125 million quid for him.
You're right. Exactly. I mean, Isak subbed at half-time, but he spent the interval with a GPS vest over his shirt performing shuttle runs. What did you make of that when you saw that?
Yeah, I get it. You're protecting him. He's got his goal, played off another half a game, running not in a game environment takes away the risk of injury, keeps topping him up a little bit more rather than sending him out after a little sit-down rest for 15
He's not 100% fit yet. Is that what they're telling us?
Well, he said it, didn't he, after the game?
Yeah.
Well, he must be fit, but he's
fit, but he's not match. Yeah. He wouldn't be playing him.
He's fitter than you and me.
Yeah, put together. But he showed glimpses again.
Yeah.
Really lovely. He's just elegant. He's beautiful to watch.
So much for Liverpool. I wonder on the other side of the city this morning if there's some regret being felt amongst Evertonians. We're going to get to that
they took
very
thousands
shortly.
There, Jim.
They did, yeah.
They took thousands. They'll be chewing.
Well, that was it. It's a cup. So why not do everything you can to stay in it? Well done, Wolves. We'll get to that next. A big day for Simon and Danny and everybody else who shares a birthday on September the 24th. Jim White, birthday boy Jordan and Danny Murphy live in talkSPORT. The Ryder Cup very much on the horizon. Danny's with us. We'll get his take on Europe's chances later on. I'm going to be joined by Rupert Bell from New York, where it's all going to go down this weekend. But do you feel really patriotic about Team Europe? Do they get you going? I'm keen to get into that later on this morning because, my God, the Americans are out in their patriotic colours in huge numbers. Do we feel the same? I'm going to get to that later on this morning. In the meantime, get into the last break. We spoke about it briefly. Everton, what an opportunity last night. Well done, Wolves. They beat Everton by 2-0 to progress to the next round of the Carabao Cup. But should there be cup regrets, especially for Everton this morning? Because this was a chance, was it not? It's 30 years, 30 long years since they last lifted major silverware. That was in 1995. FA Cup, memory serves me right, Paul Rideout. But anyway, put that to one side. Evertonians, was it a big missed opportunity? This was Moyes post-match.
Well, it's one game in the Cup we've lost. We've actually played really well. We've just come away from Anfield, played pretty well there. So we've started the season good. So I wouldn't be certainly getting too disappointed about it. But we'll set pretty high standards, and we obviously didn't reach them as much as we'd like tonight. But the second half performance in a way merited a draw out of the game. I think that.
Was it a big missed opportunity last night? When you think of it, Moyes made 7 changes to his starting lineup, Danny. We might have expected that. It's the Carabao Cup, but Evertonians have got a thing about winning something now. So long since they did so. I mean, before you answer me, there's Ian in Liverpool this morning. David Moyes is something of a disgrace. 3 weeks ago, our front line ruined Wolves. Ruined Wolves.
Yeah, they beat them in the league.
He then drops them all for this game. Our next game 6 days away, plus international break around the corner. 30 years, no trophy. You'd think he'd absolutely go for this one. I wonder why he didn't.
Well, the reason he didn't is because he's got other players who need some game time, who he must have felt capable, the likes of McNeil, Diblin, Alcaraz. They're decent players, by the way. But
do you feel the Evertonians' pain here, Danny?
Yeah.
And frustration?
I do, because they don't play till next Monday. He's right. They did go there with that front line and cause them all sorts of problems, and that front line is quite dynamic. It's got lots of talent there and creativity, and it was a risk leaving them all out, for sure. Now, don't get me wrong, they could have played them and still come out, but at least then there's no excuse. I'm surprised at Moisey. Not a lot of respect for him, as you know, but cup competitions for Everton is their only chance, isn't it, of course, and getting something, and they're already out of one. And Wolves, lack of confidence, lost 5 on the spin. You've beaten them already a couple of weeks ago. Just let the front lads go and cause havoc again. So I can't go against the Everton fans complaining, because I get it.
I get it too. Do you not, Simon? I mean, I totally understand the frustration. Who's to say it might have ended differently? I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I don't know. Did Wolves make any changes? Doesn't look like they did.
They made a few.
I mean,
less, but they made a few.
I mean, obviously, we all know the importance of this cup because we had a national holiday celebration for the fact that Newcastle won it last year. Everybody in the media had an outpouring of love for a club that hadn't won anything for such a long time. So it's a terrible miss.
We did an hour in Crystal Palace winning the FA Cup.
Yeah, all right.
Okie
dokie.
I know what I'm doing with your candles.
I mean, there must be a reason that David felt that there was a need to rotate the squad. There must be a reason why he's, in part, seemingly prioritising an outcome 6 days further down the line. He's not a fool. He's not a manager that doesn't know his way around the game. He's managed 1,000 games, I suspect, and most of them in the Premier League, so he knows his way around. Everton have been in managed decline for 5 years. Maybe people should pack it in and just let the manager make his decisions.
Look, the team was still full of quality players.
Correct.
And some of those players, if you never give them a chance.
You just bought Tyler Diblin for 40-odd million quid for Southampton, who's supposed to be £100 million footballer, which he wasn't. You've got all the boys on the bench that came on anyway.
They came on, yeah.
So is he right to go league first, no matter what? League first?
I don't know whether he's right or wrong, but I don't think it's right to catastrophise a decision made by a manager that A, changed the direction of travel for Everton last year, B, is doing mostly better things than Everton have seen in the last 2 or 3 years. Yes, it's an opportunity missed to progress in the next round. There's no guarantee they'd have won the Cup. They could have won this particular game. They could have got injuries by playing people, and people would say, why would you play our best players in a meaningless Cup game? You can't do that.
Don't think they would have, but I know what you mean. It's balance. It's balance, because the reality is the Everton situation with the games coming up, they're not playing till next Monday, and there is an international break after the weekend after.
But surely Moisey will look at it and go, right, because this is a footballer. Play me gaffer, play me gaffer. Okay, fine, here you go. We're playing against a poor Wolves side. They're out of form, out of confidence. Go in and prove it to me. So maybe he learned some lessons last night about players that he thinks he can and can't rely on.
He's caught between a rock and a hard place, but ultimately what you've got to think of is... I would, as a coach, be thinking of my own situation and the impact on the fans if we lose, if I rest all these.
But he's a bigger manager than just thinking... he is a very experienced manager that's been under pressure and ready jobs.
Do you know what, Simon? He said the right things there, but he'll be fuming that some of those
well, that's the point. He gave him a chance.
We saw what it meant when Palace won the FA Cup. We saw what it meant to the club. We saw what it meant to the fans.
Sure.
We saw, dare I say it, we saw what it meant to Newcastle and their fans when they won the Carabao Cup. Yeah. And unlike what you say, we didn't make a 4-act play.
Did they rotate?
In the early rounds, they probably did. And to be fair to Everton,
Jim, did Newcastle in the early rounds rotate? If they did and their players stepped up, then ask the question of what squad Everton have got.
Let's not forget
against Wolves, who've lost 5 from 5 in the Premier League.
Yeah, but they're a Premier League team. So, for example, if you look at Fulham, they drew home to Cambridge or whatever it was. Chelsea got Lincoln away, all right, tough for half an hour, and then they get over the line. Everton have got to go away to a Premier League team. So even if they played the best team, they could have still lost. But now the result's gone against them, the question mark is there, and it's valid. And for 4,000 Everton fans that went down there and paid their money, they were expecting to go through and see the best team play, and they didn't. So they've got every right to be fuming.
Sure. I mean, I am delighted, personally, that Moyes is back at Everton.
So am I.
And I hope and pray they do well, because, by God, they deserve to.
They will do well, because he's a terrific manager.
Not that Sean Dyche was up to no good. He was great as well.
I think he got it wrong.
At the end of the day, I think he got it wrong, Simon. I mean, you can see what it means to the Everton fans who go there last night thinking, do you know what, we might just go deep in this.
I mean, they've just played...
We saw what it meant to Newcastle
fans. Well, listen, they played at Aston Villa, another team out of form, out of rhythm, and underperforming at Everton, and drew 0-0. So and with their full strength side out that they could have made available for the Wolves game. So there's no guarantee that they would have put their best team out. All it does is create an argument around a manager and his right to make a choice. And if he's prepared to... And maybe he's got West Ham next game.
The stats tell us that he's wrong to do it. The
result tells us that.
Yeah,
the last 5 seasons, they've had 4 third-round exits. There's a pattern here, isn't there?
Well, let's get one thing right. Let's get one.
How honestly deep do they want to go in the tournament?
Why is that? Because the last 4 or 5 years, just characterise it
lack of strength in depth.
They had no money. They were going into free fall as a football club. They were all over the place getting sanctioned. They were under special measures from the league.
One of the exits was to Queen's Park Rangers.
It doesn't matter who the exit was. You've got to put the situation surrounding the club and its circumstances into context. And
I'm giving you context.
But the context is that Everton had no money. They had hardly a threadbare squad. They had people that were avoiding relegation season after season. So the context of it was they were in a different position. Now, of course, you've got the same outcome.
So if you're Dan Friedkin this morning, do you know?
Yeah.
Not to worry.
No. I'd be going, right, that's it. Moyes is on my hit list now. He's out the door. Because I've forgotten what he did last year. I forgot.
No, nobody's at that point. I don't think the Everton fans
but I'm being facetious.
I know you are. But the reality is the Everton team or the squad, although it's been strengthened and they've made some good signings, changing 7 is a huge risk.
We've got outrage coming in from Everton fans.
Well, the Evertonians aren't happy, and they're right to, because they've seen this so often. I mean, Simon, you always quite rightly ask for context. In this show, we bring context to everything that we talk about. In the last 15 years, 10 third-round exits.
Moisey did not put that team
over
out.
Everton.
I don't think Moisey thought they were going to lose.
There's a decade-long pattern here.
Right.
David didn't think they were going to lose and
Buck the
deliberately...
field your toughest team, go out and win it. As Danny says, they're not in action again until when?
Next
Monday.
Yeah, I get the dynamics of it, but I mean, despite the hullabaloo, I mean, the League Cup isn't that big a deal.
Oh, here we go.
But it isn't.
It is when you get to the semis and the
Try
final.
telling the Newcastle fans that when they were leaving
Everton
Wembley.
would have done.
No, there isn't.
Everton would have, if they won this game,
give up. Why
lost the
not?
next game.
Don't go in it. Don't play any of the first team.
But there is an argument that ultimately the clubs that their priority, whether we like it or we don't like it, what is the priority? Going deep in the League Cup, or maybe getting into a League Cup final and winning it and sacrificing.
They can
positions?
prioritise both because they're not in Europe. These are super fit.
But he obviously doesn't think he can.
I know that.
So,
but I'm
so
saying
he's
they're
rotated, and isn't it about the play? If you've got a playing squad against the dysfunctional, poor Wolves side, and some of those players
He
on
expected
that field,
them to win.
He expected them to win.
He did.
So why don't we turn the narrative onto the players? Why has it always got to be the coach and go, well, the coach gave these guys a chance, right? Managing a football team in this modern age with
probably a
bigger
bit of
squads.
both, yeah.
Why don't we give it to the players? Why don't we say, well, what about you lot letting the fans down? Why couldn't you have pulled your fingers out because you wanted an opportunity, you've been given an opportunity, you let your coach down, you let the fans down? How about that for a conversation?
They're not playing a pub team, by the way. Wolves are a Premier League team. Got some good players.
Yeah.
But I think you're absolutely right to throw that in.
Jim, ultimately...
But what would you rather have?
Ultimately,
A mid-table finish in the Premier League, or you won a cup for the first time in 30 years?
You don't have to choose. That's the key. And that's why the fans are frustrated. You don't have to prioritise.
Yeah.
You've got 6 days till the next
Are they
game.
frustrated, though?
Yeah,
well, let's find out if you're frustrated or not. Let's hear from a few of you.
They will be.
And remember, when you come on, you've got to wish Simon happy birthday.
Don't swear.
Contract. Anyway, Evertonians, what do you think? I mean, this was undoubtedly a missed opportunity, was it not last night? Well done to Wolves. Haven't been going well, of course, in the Premier League. Lost 5 from 5, but they won 2 from 2 in this competition. So, all right, Wolves, your night. But on Everton, was it a missed opportunity? Fielding a team that was 7 changes to the starting lineup last time around. And remember, you haven't won a trophy. We don't need me to remind you. You haven't won a trophy in the last 30 years. 1995, Paul Ryder, remember that. Graham Stewart on the pitch as well. Give us a call. 03717 223344. And remember whose birthday it is.
Shin pads are a footballer's best friend. Even if players like Jack Grealish do wear such small ones you can barely even see them. But what's the story with shin pads, and are there actually any rules on how big they should be? It all started with cricket, actually. Cricketers had been wearing shin pads since the 1700s. It was thanks to this guy that shin protection made its way over to football. Meet Samuel Widdowson. He was a cricketer and a footballer. He played for Nottingham Forest back in the late 1800s, and he wanted a way to protect his legs from nasty tackles. Naturally, his mind drifted to his other favourite sport, where players had been wearing these pads for a century. Story goes, Widdowson cut up his cricket pads and popped them on before taking to the footy pitch. His Nottingham Forest team then began wearing them from 1887, and the first known use of them in a match was in 1894, in a match between Newcastle and the then Woolwich Arsenal. Eventually, FIFA clocked on that this kind of protection was pretty important for footballers. And so, in 1990, basically 100 years after Widdowson first put them on, shin pads were made compulsory. It became part of Law 4 of IFAB. That's the body responsible for setting the laws of the game internationally. But the law doesn't actually specify anything about measurements of shin pads. It just says they must be made of a suitable material and be of an appropriate size to provide reasonable protection. It's really vague, even though there have been calls for it to be changed. But for now, that's why Grealish and co can still get away with these ones, which are no bigger than a credit card and which seem to offer little to no protection whatsoever.
I've got this mental image of this man, Matt Ruggiero, who's a sales manager in the US on a treadmill or maybe on an exercise bike in the gym. Matt sent me an email overnight. You'll be in the gym, I'm sure, this morning, Matt, in New Jersey, USA, as you are, at this particular time, because you train at this time, because you tune in to listen to Simon on the show, and I'm delighted about that. You play football with Scottish teams in New Jersey, and you're a listener every morning, and you turn 60 this week. So Simon, and Danny, shall we wish Matt Ruggiero happy birthday this morning? Happy birthday to you, Matt.
Should we do birthday requests for everyone?
Birthday request for everybody. Yes. I am an unpaid but very energetic and enthusiastic birthday request announcer.
Just get on with some serious radio instead of birthday hour.
Thank you. Oh, I like that, Danny. Thank you very much indeed. Matt, have a good one, mate, and continue to listen over there in New Jersey. Many Evertonians getting in touch, and we thought you would, because you are very frustrated this morning, not only over the fact that you went out of the Carabao Cup at the third round stage last night, but the manner in which you went out and the team that was fielded. Many of you getting in touch. 03717 223344. 30 years since you last lifted a major trophy. That was the 1995 FA Cup. You saw Palace win the FA Cup recently. You saw Newcastle win the Carabao Cup. And in spite of what birthday boy Jordan says, we didn't make a 4-act play about that. But Newcastle did win it and deserved all the adulation that they got. But Everton have gone out again. The last 15 years, 10 third-round exits for Everton. 03717 223344. Here's Ian, who's a big Everton fan. Ian, good morning. I take it you're somewhat frustrated, are you?
Very much so, very much so. First of all, happy birthday to Simon.
Thank you, mate.
Keep the hair dye going, Simon. Looking good, mate.
Good lad. Forward it off you.
Yeah, so
Ian, on you go. I mean, he made 7 changes to the lineup last night. What did you think?
I just think with regards to a bit of momentum going forward for us as well, we've done really well in the derby. And I was watching the match with me dad and my brother, and the three of us were just scratching our heads at the team selection with regards to, everybody was looking forward to watching Grealish, because, he's been playing out of his skin, and it was a great opportunity for us to possibly, get a bit of silverware, which, it's long awaited. As you say, it's been over 30 years for the Cup, and I think a lot of Everton fans have just basically, I've spoken to a few this morning myself, and we're just baffled at the team selection with regards to, we played Wolves not long ago, and we beat them. And it was, as I say, it was just head scratching. Just couldn't understand the selection of the team. And I know Simon's touched on the fact that, the players who come in, they've got an opportunity to stake a claim for a place and do well. And, there is a point that they could, you could say they've let the team down and the coach. But I just think, I'm not jumping on David Moyes here because he's been absolutely fantastic for us. But the team selection and the chance we had to possibly win a trophy, again, just absolutely baffled by the team selection.
I think that's the very point, Ian, and I think you've nailed it. Let's hear of Chris, who's another Evertonian, if he thinks the same. Chris, good morning. What's your take on it?
Good morning, Jim. Good morning, Danny. Good happy birthday, Simon.
Thank you, mate. What did you think, Chris?
I was going to start singing, but I was going to sing happy birthday, but I don't think I've got time. My thing is I don't get it. Like, so the squads travel down together, yeah. Wolves rattled, obviously low on confidence. Start your strongest team, get a lead, and then take them off for the rest. What's the point in giving them a rest for the first half and playing them in the second half? Do you know what I mean? I get, like, I don't get, like, you've got more chance. Surely Danny could probably, if we're chasing a game and you're obviously, there's a bit more adrenaline. Surely there's more risk of an injury when they're chasing the game and obviously attacking and tackles are flying in. Then go out, get a lead, and then take them all off. Do you know what I mean? That's what I don't get. I mean, these fans saying it's our chance to win a trophy. It's only the third round. Do you know what I mean? They're getting a bit ahead of ourselves. But the last few years, we've gone out of competitions like these, and then it's had a knock-on effect because we started the season well, not last year, the year before. And then we got beat in a cup, and then the Premier League form suffers as well. Do you know what I mean?
Well, it's a pattern, isn't it? Like, it's a pattern, Chris, that you don't like.
But I just don't get I just don't get if the squad's travelled down and he's got to play them in the second half, chasing the game. Why not? Wolves are obviously low on confidence. As soon as they scored, you could see that they got more confidence. If we go and score first early with a strong team out,
then you can bring people off.
Their heads would probably drop. Exactly. If he hadn't brought them on or they hadn't travelled, I could, it's a different story. I think I could understand that because I understand the Premier League. But if they've travelled down, they're part of the matchday squad. What difference does it make playing the first 40 or the last 40?
That's
what
the point, Danny, isn't it?
I've always felt that. I've always felt that if you're going to take your big boys, start them and then bring them off as and when you can, if you've got a lead or whatever it is. I think trying to change momentum in a game and chase the game's harder. And also, even for the lads who are the best players coming off the bench, sometimes they don't hit the ground running.
Weren't they there in the event of a fallback position?
Yeah, but then
it wasn't the outcome that he didn't want to use them, only had to use them because they were in trouble. Isn't it a case of if the game's stretched, the opposition is tireder, you're more likely to be more impactful?
It wasn't stretched because what Wolves did, I only watched bits, but they were 1-0 up, so they defended the lead and played on the counter.
Right.
Changes the dynamic. Then you're coming on as a creative player.
But the physicality of players is diminishing during the game. If you've come for 60 minutes,
you can look at it both ways. To be honest, you could make an argument for both. Ultimately,
this is the third round of the League Cup. It feels like a bunch of bald men arguing over a comb. It wasn't going to make that much difference. It wasn't any guarantee that they were going to win this competition.
I think I get where you're coming from.
The bald men have been arguing over the comb for a long number of years now.
When you understand the history of Everton and the size of the support and how many fans went down there.
Exactly.
I mean, this is a proper number of the game.
Yeah.
They've gone expecting to see a result with the majority of their players.
We all know and we all like David Moyes, but we're not stoking it up here.
No.
The fact remains...
I think the Evertonians wouldn't be...
15 years, 10 third-round exits.
I don't think they'd be as disgruntled if he'd made 2 or 3 changes.
Right.
But you've got your main creators.
But he made 7. Carl, very briefly,
a lot.
Take us to the break, Carl. What's your thought on this? You're a big Evertonian. Good morning.
Morning. Happy birthday, Simon.
Thank you.
I'm not frustrated as everybody else. I think it's on the players more than the manager. Like, squad players need to be given a chance. And if they don't take it, they don't get near the squad. So I'm not that frustrated. We were never going to win it. It's fine.
Never going to win it. Well, I mean, that's one way of looking at it. I'm not sure there were many Newcastle fans that went into it thought we're still not going to win this.
He obviously didn't go to the game, but 4,000 of them who did probably be feeling a bit different.
Yeah, I would think so. So the fact of the matter is it's Wolves who progress, and all good luck to them. They did the job in the night. Everton didn't. Jim White, Simon Jordan, Danny Murphy live in talkSPORT with Selco, where the trade goes. The Ryder Cup is almost upon us, of course. The USA, the hosts this time around, and talkSPORT right across the whole event. You will not miss a thing. talkSPORT team arrived earlier in the week over there, and they eagerly await the action to start at the famous Bethpage Black course. But here's the thing. How patriotic do you get for Team Europe in this Ryder Cup or previous Ryder Cups? Do you find yourself shouting at the telly or listening to talkSPORT and getting right into it, getting right behind the European effort? Will it be no different this time around? Is that how you feel? Certainly how many Americans feel. My God, they want to win this thing like nobody's business. And it begs the question this morning, for some reason or another, does it mean more to the Americans to win the Ryder Cup than it does to us Europeans?
What a load of nonsense.
Let's get into it, because they certainly are firing themselves up. This was the Team US video, and I'll give you a bit of background to it before you listen, and before, if you're watching on TV, you can see what they produced. Team United, the US video, as well as a rendition of the national anthem. The captain, Keegan Bradley, invited a New York firefighter, Chris Mascali, I should say, whose father, Joe Mascali, died fighting fires during the 9/11 attacks, to address his team at the Bethpage Black course. This was Chris Mascali.
My dad, firefighter Joe Mascali, was a 14-year veteran of the FDNY. He and his brothers raced towards the World Trade Center, into the unknown, because that's what the job demands: courage, sacrifice, selflessness, and love of country. You 12 represent more than just yourselves. You represent a nation. You wear the stars and stripes on your chest, but more importantly, on your heart, in your hearts. This is more than just golf. This is for our country. This is for every American that embodies what it means to be American. For the soldiers overseas, for the cop on the beat in the Bronx, for the fireman rushing into a burning building in Flatbush. For kids like Joey, who dream of being in your shoes one day. One of the toughest courses in the world, as relentless as the fans that will pack it. It's going to be loud, it's going to be raw, but that's New York.
Wow. Now, as well as all that, Team USA are keeping Chris's dad, Joe Mascali's helmet in their team room this week to serve as a constant reminder of inspiration. Do what you can out there to win it. Be proud. You're American. We get it, Danny.
Always trying, or managers always try and find motivations for the collective. Ultimately, all the players out there have their own individual motivation to succeed and do well. Same in football. That stuff becomes secondary once it started. You don't start thinking about that when you've got your own personal motivation, your own ego, your own pride, your own family you want to do well for. They equally want it as much. It means as much to all of them. You just got to listen to them talk. Even the conversation about the money and the Americans getting paid and the Europeans not. Even that, to me, it's just been built up into, a mountain out of a molehill. They're all brilliant golfers who are all super wealthy, super famous, and applauded across the world. They all want to win because it enhances their reputation and their life experiences and their golf CV. And it will be amazing.
What about the public here? What about viewers, listeners?
Do you consider yourself a European? I know you Scots will travel anywhere for £1, but the fact of the matter is, do you consider yourself a European? I consider myself English. So if I'm watching the Ryder Cup,
don't say.
No, but my pride is in being English. My pride is not being European. I don't look at the Italians and the Spanish and the Germans and say, "Oh, I'm glad I'm in Europe with these guys."
So do you not feel patriotic about this weekend?
No, I don't, because I don't feel that. I can understand why the Americans do, because they're celebrating. They are a country in their own right. They're pulling from their own country. It is specific to their country. We're saying we're a continent, and we are absolutely pulling from every other country in Europe. So when we're playing Germans in football, I don't think, we're playing against a fellow European. I think we're playing against the bloody Germans.
I get that,
or
but
the French, or the Italians.
We're linking arms.
I think the Europeans.
You're asking about how people react to it and why they think the way they do, and there's what happens is that when we see as watching the Europeans subjected to the crap that the Americans will try to parlay into the conversation, when we go over there, that creates the bonding.
Right.
That creates the, hang on, you lot.
And even if you think of some of the American players...
supersize me, let's have a moment in time with you.
But even some of the American players over the years' behaviour has riled the Europeans to come together more as well, I think. But when I watch it, I'm with Simon to a degree. My interest when I watch the Ryder Cup is not so much Europe-America. I'm rooting for Rory, Tommy Fleetwood, Shane Lowry, Justin Rose, Bob McIntyre.
Absolutely.
They're the players I'm rooting for. I want them to do really well.
Yeah.
It's not so much.
Different, isn't it?
It's not so much Europe.
So you can look beyond just being English, unlike Birthday Boy.
I'm British.
You're British, but you're European this weekend, Danny.
Are you?
Are you telling me that?
I don't think anyone would ever look at me and think I'm European.
But you're Team Europe this weekend.
I am, of course.
Undeniably.
Well, because of those.
Whereas you couldn't give a toss.
No, of course, if I'm asked.
Well, you're being asked. You're giving it, I'm English.
But you're asking me about the motivations and the comparison between what the Americans do and how jingoistic they're being and the reasons why they're being that way against the difference of how the Europeans operate. Because the Americans are a confined outfit. First of all, they're much more proud of their country than we are of our own country.
Yeah.
We spend most of our time pulling our bloody country down, telling everyone what happens to it and how bad it should be, which is appalling.
Many Americans are ashamed to be American right now because of what they're seeing and hearing. So it's not just here.
Many Americans aren't. And the idea that they have a patronage about flying flags. We turn around and say our flags are bloody racist. We're absurd in this country.
Many Americans say they don't recognise their country
most of the Americans that voted Donald Trump in, which was the majority, seem to think that that's the way they want to go. So we can all look at the division and look at the idea behind an individual and the policies of a certain politician, or we can look at the style of the country. I lived in America for years. I know what they think of their country.
They must have
I know
loved
what
you.
they think about the attitude, and that they did. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And I know what they think. And in this country, we're slightly different. But the fact of the matter is that it is a different comparison because we're pulling together what we consider to be rivals most of the time, other countries that are now forming part of a unit, to play against one other country.
Where I think Simon is right in this, the only area he's right in this, is that the Americans themselves, the crowd, the spectators, the feeling there, Danny, will fire the Europeans up. He's right. They'll do the job of firing us up for us because they're so damn loud, in your face, and in many cases obnoxious, that the Europeans will give it, let's have it.
That's a bit generalisation.
Let's have it.
Yeah, but it's probably a fair one to a degree with the crowds. I think the Europeans, will feel that. Have to deal with it and come together. But the reality is it could go the other way.
Do you think, I mean, you just said that earlier on, do you think you're British? So when the Welsh were giving it to us in 2016 and doing their dance about how we should get knocked out of the... When he turns around and says it'll be his worst day in his life if England win the European Championships or the Euros in 2020, you feel British then, do you?
No, I said it for a fact.
Exactly.
And you were that confident that England would win that you didn't pitch up in Berlin. But I did.
But my point was, someone like Bob McIntyre, who's Scottish, who I love, I'd rather support him than be supporting.
There you go, Danny. And
I'd rather be supporting him than an Italian or an American.
It's great.
But the fellow beside you gives it. I feel it's difficult for me. I'm English.
Did you not support and did you not want Andy Murray to win Wimbledon when he was playing? Part of you because it's like he's part of.
Well, if he'd have lost, he'd have been Scottish. Yes, of course. Yeah. Like if he'd won, he's British. I get that, and I understand that principle absolutely. And it's nice to support the Scots inside the Ryder Cup because it's such a rarity. You do support scarcity, don't you?
Does it mean more to the Americans to win this from a fan's perspective, do you think, than it does to a European fan?
Yeah.
If they're playing in America, of course it does.
It feels like that because the European fans are generally a bit more humble.
Conservative.
Yeah. Good word, conservative.
Yeah.
Not politically, but...
No.
But Danny, I'm with you on many things that you said there.
That's good.
Stay with us. What does it mean to you? As a European, do you get right behind Team Europe this weekend? Are you really, clenching that fist?
We
fist
can't
punching?
be as patriotic. We want Europe. We're not
exactly.
We want the Europeans to win
queuing
it
up in all these airports around the country because we can't get in because we're not part of the European Union.
Do the Americans over, or does it mean more to the Americans? As Danny
fans, you're talking about, not players.
The American fans.
He's switching his.
And Danny would concede that it probably does, and it's all about the fans. It's all about the fans and how they feel. They are as fired up as hell. At Bethpage, they'll be out in huge numbers, and they're going to give it to Team Europe. But how do we feel about that? How patriotic do you feel about Team Europe going in and winning this? I would love to see it myself. 03717 223344 81089.
talkSPORT Sports Update powered by the Nissan Van Range. Commercial vehicles built around your business. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
With your headlines at 11:01, I'm Nick Ellaby. Good morning. Thomas Frank says Harry Kane's welcome back at Spurs any time. It's reported there is a clause in Kane's Bayern contract allowing him to leave next summer. talkSPORT's Adrian Durham says it makes sense for both Spurs and Kane's ambition to break the Premier League scoring record.
Harry Kane, when he was at Spurs, was absolutely desperate to win something with Spurs, a trophy with Spurs. Now, he's left, they've won a trophy, but if he wants to go back and win a trophy, I think that's one thing he'd love to tick off in his career.
Tottenham host Doncaster in the Carabao Cup tonight. We've got Arsenal's trip to Port Vale live on talkSPORT from 7 p.m. Following last night's action, Danny Murphy calls this from Arne Slot refreshing.
Needless, not smart. You call it stupid. I call it stupid, by the way, as well.
Slot's annoyed with Ekitike's second yellow for taking his shirt off, celebrating his winner over Southampton. He'll now miss the Palace game. Danny was asked if Ekitike was responding to Isak's arrival at Liverpool.
It felt that way. Like, I'll show you, look, here's my shirt, here's my name, it's about me. And
you disappointed in him?
He's a young guy. He's emotional, it happens.
It's reported Everton and Leeds have settled a PSR dispute related to Everton's breach in the 21-22 season. The clubs reached an agreement behind closed doors last season. And Boris Becker has told talkSPORT his sporting mentality helped him get through time in a British jail.
I was most comfortable in the fifth set. I was most comfortable in a tie break. You know, when the going got tough, I thought that I was okay with it. And I think that mentality of surviving a difficult moment on the court, I think helped me a lot in prison.
You can watch the full interview with Boris Becker on the talkSPORT YouTube.
talkSPORT News.
The Home Office is looking into why taxis are used to take asylum seekers to hospital appointments, and the Foreign Secretary says the UK is ready to act after the US President urged NATO to shoot down rogue Russian planes. More from the news team in half an hour.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit, your go-to destination for quality tyres from great brands like Continental. Visit your local centre or quickfit.com and book today.
A largely dry and sunny day, turning cloudier this afternoon with a few light showers around in the south, breezy in the northwest and southeast.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome along. It's Jim White, Simon Jordan and Danny Murphy, and we're all live on talkSPORT. This is Wednesday, September the 24th, Simon Jordan's birthday, and we're delighted about that. Ian Hart, good friend of mine. Jim, please wish Simon a very happy birthday from all his chums at Brighton and Hove Albion. In the autumn of his years, he's become our very own poster boy, as opposed to the poster of him we used to throw darts at back in the day. Happy birthday to all your chums down in Brighton, Simon.
Very good.
They wish you well. And so do we. Alan McCoy's has a birthday on this day. So does Simon's chums Theo Pafitis, which is never easy to say live, but I tried it and I did it. We're coming to you live on your TV, Samsung, LG, Fire TV, Apple TV, Chromecast, Android, Google TV, even Prime Video. And of course, we're building up to the Ryder Cup. It is an enormous event this weekend. Danny Murphy
Can't
in
wait.
the studio cannot wait for it. Danny knows more than just a little bit about golf. And 11 handicapper Mr. Jordan is saying he's not that bothered about it. He's not that 13. It's gone up, has it? Not that bothered about it, really. And no, he doesn't really feel patriotic in any way towards Team Europe going into it. Even though the Americans will do everything they possibly can to win this damn thing. So, how patriotic do you get for the Ryder Cup? Do you get patriotic at all for it and Team Europe? Or from a fan's perspective, does it mean more to the Americans? And it's over on their patch, is it not? Over at Beth Page. I dread to think some of the sights and sounds we're going to hear this coming weekend. You're calling in big numbers, and I'm delighted about that. 03717 223344. Here is Michael, who's an Arsenal fan and no doubt a golf fan as well. How do you feel about it this weekend, Michael?
First of all, happy birthday, Simon.
Thank you, mate.
But I just think it's a bit of nonsense that the Americans care more about it than the Europeans. Ultimately, it's two sets of fans that support a team. And just because Europe is a group of countries banded together does not mean that the fans are any less passionate than the Americans are. I've been to the Ryder Cup, and I would challenge anyone that has been to suggest that the European fans are not more patriotic than the Americans, because they certainly support in a much more jovial manner, much less aggressive, and albeit, you know, they get behind their team when they're losing, which is more than can be said for the Americans.
I see. So, Michael, the European fans, and you're one of them, a lot more measured, but just as patriotic, if not more so.
But you know, as you know, in football, I support Arsenal avidly week in, week out, and when England play, you know, I get behind England because I'm English, but I don't think I'm any more or less of a fan. You know, I'm a fan of both.
Can I ask you a question then?
As a fan of Europe, and as a fan of Europe, just because I'm a fan of Europe and not England, you know, I can get behind it just as much as.
Well, if there was no, let's say there was scant representation from these shores. All the best players were coming out of Spain,
Scotland,
Germany, well, not Scotland, Italy, and there was virtually no representation from these shores. Would you feel the same way?
I think I would, because I've been brought up with the Ryder Cup. Like, there's always going to be periods where there's going to be more players from a certain nation or a certain region in Europe. That's just the way that cycles go. But because I've been brought up as a fan of Europe, I'd still get behind it. It's still very exciting to watch. And as a sports fan, I think it's a bit fickle to not.
Is it a fan of? Is it more of a fan of Europe or more of a hatred towards the Americans? Maybe a bit strong.
Definitely more. Well, it's definitely more of a fan, being a fan of Europe. I've got an American family as well, so it's always good to see them.
Never mind about them, Michael.
But I think if you're, I'll give you an extreme example. Yeah. I think if Europe as a team were playing Asia, it wouldn't be as vociferous.
Yeah, that's right. I agree with Michael. I think it's fickle not to feel patriotic this weekend for Team Europe.
Yeah. I don't know how you can be patriotic towards Europe. I can understand you can be patriotic towards your country. I understand.
Well, because you're using it as a vehicle because of your discontent with the Americans.
Yeah, I mean, it's because of the Septics. It's because of their attitude and the way that they bring it upon us that we actually get more enraged and more inflamed and more engaged.
So you agree with me?
Okay.
To a degree,
and
yes.
Septics being the septic tanks. You get it. Here's Phil, who's a big Chelsea fan. How patriotic do you feel then, Phil? Because Americans are up for it.
I think using the word patriotic is a mistake. What you're talking about is support. I've always been a proud supporter of the European Ryder Cup team. It's not that patriotism. I'm a proud Englishman, but you can be supportive without having to say it's going rah, 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 patriotism.
Yeah.
And as for the American players, time and time again, they've come unstuck because they play for themselves less than they play for their country.
Yeah. Yes. Do you find it strange, Phil, that Simon, who's undoubtedly a proud Englishman, ain't that fired up about this or Team Europe?
No, because if he's not a golf fan, he's not a golf fan. It's not a question of having to be patriotic about Europe. It's about supporting a sport you like. If someone doesn't like golf, why would he be patriotic towards Europe? It's not his sport.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But in saying that, I take his point. But in saying that, I was less patriotic about the GB team in the Olympics when it was combined with the Welsh and the Scots. So I am patriotic about my country of birth. That's where my patriotism extends to, starts and begins and ends.
Is that why you buggered off and lived in Spain for 20 years?
That was an entirely different reason.
That's right.
I wanted to spread my wisdom to the Spanish.
He's that patriotic that he calls Spain home. Jason,
home from home.
Jason, I think you're about to board a flight and head out to New York, are you, mate? Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, guys. Yeah, I am on the way to Manchester Airport, and I'm off to New York today to spend a couple of days at the Ryder Cup this weekend.
Amazing.
Brilliant. So what does Team Europe mean to you, Jace?
Look, so I'm proud English and British, but when the boys put on them jumpers to represent us from England, from Wales, from Scotland, from European, they're so proud. So for me, I'm going to be really proud. We've got we're fully dressed up, we're going to be livid up, and we're going to be giving it as large as we can on the weekend to give them every bit of support. Absolutely.
Absolutely brilliant. And Jason, are they going to do it?
They're going to do it. If you look at it, I know they've got a couple of standout players, but I genuinely team mentally prepared to it. We're going to do it, and I'm there on Sunday to watch them lift that trophy.
Enjoy it, Jason. Thank you so much for joining us. What about James, who's an Arsenal fan, and I would think a Team Europe fan, are you?
Yeah, I am actually. First of all, happy birthday to Simon, fellow Libran, if you want to get into star signs and all that.
Good lad, best sign.
Least romantic.
Yeah, Libra, unstable.
Balance,
Please like.
Balance, weigh things up.
Yeah. Sorry, James, crack on, mate.
No,
before
that's
you get a complex.
Well, interestingly, I don't really watch golf except when
Neither
it's the
does
Ryder
Simon.
Cup.
Go on, sorry, James.
Yeah, except when it's the Ryder Cup, because I'm a big fan of team sports. And also my family background is European. So people come to these things from different angles.
Yeah.
I can understand Simon's point of view, but essentially it's a coalition, isn't it? Without using a political phrase, it's a coalition of different backgrounds and cultures. So people are coming to this for different reasons. People might support Europe because, they want to follow the Spanish, or they want to follow the French, or whatever. And also Simon's talking about he supports England. Well, people support England when it comes to the World Cup in football, but they support their clubs on a local level, yet they can still get it together to support England. So surely someone who is English or Irish or Scottish or Welsh comes to support Britain or a Team GB or a European team.
Yes, exactly.
And
which is a logical, mature way to look at it, actually.
I think it's more a love of golf. And that's what starts people's interest in the
Every time I go down to a swimming pool on a holiday and I see a German put his towel down before me, I always think it's a coalition of sun worshippers.
When was the last time you went on holiday where you share sunbeds?
Not sunbeds,
James, thank you for that. Let's hear from Jim, who's, I think, a St Johnstone fan. St Johnstone up in Perth, right in the heart of Scotland. Jim, how patriotic do you feel about Team Europe, and do we match the Americans in terms of the absolute fervour and desire to win this?
Yeah, I would say we have to. Happy birthday, Simon.
Thank you.
Not bad. You're doing well for 70.
IQ, that's why I relate to Jim.
I just like back to the days where it was Seve Ballesteros, Sergio Garcia.
Yes.
Jose Maria Latabal.
Yeah.
You got right behind these guys, right behind them. And I don't think things have changed too much.
Great, Jim.
Well, do you know what?
Thank you for that.
You know what the reality is?
Go on.
You know how it became European, didn't it? Because it started with the Americans against Great Britain.
We used to get wiped out.
We got pummeled all the time, so we called out for help.
Yes, and help arrive.
Like we do on so many fronts.
So we called out for help, and now it's become Europe. So maybe we should get behind all of them.
You're just not having a sporting event at which you would have to, as an Englishman, you would have to share a locker room with a Scotsman or a Welshman or an Irishman. You're not having that.
I most certainly am.
You're not walking through that locker room door.
But if you look at the attitude of the people in your part of the world, they are the ones that drive the agenda for a divisive outlook towards these aisles. They're the ones that say that 86% of people that were polled during the European Championships of 2021 said it would be their worst day in Scotland if an England team won the European Championships. It's driven by your countries, not by me. I'm happy to have you as a canker sore on the side of our aisles.
We feel very strongly that's why
you're in
we're
London.
very, very proud to be Scottish. But at a time like this, any Scot, any Irishman, any Welshman would be, and Englishman, is just simply proud, Danny, are they not, to be part of Team Europe. Go out there, boys, and win it. Win it. It is Wednesday morning, September the 24th, the famous day. Simon Jordan came into the world, so did Ali McCoy, so did Theo Pafitas. Maybe you did too, and if you did, happy birthday from us all here at talkSPORT. We're coming to you live on Samsung, LG, of course, various ways to watch us as well, even Prime Video. Wherever you want to watch, we will be there for you. At the weekend, there was quite a bit of fallout, was there not? Danny was with Simon and myself on Monday morning when we spoke about the nature of Arsenal 1, Manchester City 1. Erling Haaland scored in the 9th minute, cancelled out by Martinelli in time added on. Both managers somewhat criticised for their perceived cautious approach in that game. Danny pushed back on that on Monday morning. Now in the build-up to Manchester City going in against Huddersfield tonight in the Carabao Cup and Arsenal going in against Port Vale, which is live on talkSPORT, the managers themselves have pushed back a bit. This was Pep.
Against Napoli, we changed the play we played against Napoli. 3 days later, we changed our way to play. I'm really good. We changed absolutely everything in 3 days. It must be a really, really good manager. Sometimes the opponents are good and create the challenges that you cannot handle it and the other one. But no, since I retired in this club, I'm retired, I would love to play in the way I want to play. Sometimes we are not able. Sometimes we are not good. Sometimes the opponent is better. But for one game is bad and saying that the team is going, I want to make the transition. We defend deep. Always I said, when we defend deeper because they are better, we are. You can run. You can run transition, run. But it's because we are there. But in the principle, I prefer regain half of the pitch and make a lot of possessions to destruct the opponents, to try to punish them. Always have been like that, and always I will be like that.
So that was Pep using some flowery language, but nonetheless denying that there's any kind of evolution going on, Simon.
Well, he's spot on.
Sometimes the opponent is just better than it.
Yeah, they got overran second half, overpowered, and they had to adapt accordingly. And probably in the back of their minds, the players were thinking of Brighton when they were winning and got done in the last 20 minutes, half hour. And you have to give credit to Arsenal for that. Just constantly on them, high line, press, taking risks. And Man City couldn't play through it. They didn't have the creativity or the nous to get out often enough.
So this isn't a different City in your eyes in any shape or form?
No.
It's still the same outlook?
In terms of quality, it might be, because they're losing player. You know, if you think of De Bruyne.
They still play the same way as
they still try and dominate, and they still try and play attacking football. All the games this season, they've played the same way.
But the argument has been they set up differently against Arsenal to respect the fact that Arsenal were far better.
They didn't set up that way. The game changed into that second half.
But do you think that Man City are operating because he's a victim of his own success?
Yeah.
Because the dominance of the City side up until last season that was so all-consuming and all-dominating, you don't think there's a change?
I think there's an obvious change in terms of what you're seeing because the personnel in it is a bit different and not as good. So they're going to be more susceptible. But ultimately, when City go out on the pitch, like they have in every other game this season,
we know
they go out to win.
I hear you, but we accept the reasons. But the principle is, have City changed, and did they change their philosophy against Arsenal? And the answer is yes, they did. Is that something there should be recriminations for?
I don't think it was from choice. That's what he's saying. Sometimes you have to adapt. You're against an opponent so much better.
But it is through choice because it's a tacit acceptance at Manchester City now that playing against Arsenal is you're potentially playing against a better side. And the narrative that's being spun is not an unfair narrative, which is that Man City once upon a time dominated everybody. That ship has sailed now. And so the evolution of Man City is a tacit acceptance. Because when he came into the country in 2016, he did not accept that he couldn't play a certain way. Everybody went, hang on a second, you can't play that way in the English Premier League. And they finished third in their first season. But he pursued it. In this instance, he's changed his approach. He recognises that the team he's playing against are better. So he's not going to go toe-to-toe with them. He's going to do what the pragmatic thing is.
In the last half hour of the game, he did. And he made the subs accordingly.
Have you seen them do that before, ever?
No.
So there we are then.
No, but we're talking about it from a generic, as in, is he changing? Is he changing his team's thinking? Is he changing his mind? He's not. He's just said he's not. But he said, I will carry on trying to win games and go forward.
What you just said, you haven't seen them cede possession like they did to Arsenal at the weekend.
They had no choice.
But they set up... OK, I take your point.
The first half was an equal game. Arsenal were as cautious as City. We see that in big games. City went in 1-0 up.
Yeah.
But
the reality
is a sea change in his mentality, because if his mentality
we've never seen it before.
was never explain, never complain, right? That's the mentality of the royal family. In his instances, it was never change the way I want to play, irrespective of the opposition. I will come into the English Premier League and I will play the football that I've played everywhere else and don't care what people tell me. Now he does care. Now he does care that actually I had better not try and change the direction of travel of this game by going toe-to-toe with them. What I'm content to do for the last 30 minutes is shut the game down.
Yeah, because...
There's nothing wrong with that, by the way.
No.
But it is not an unfair criticism to say that's a change in his mentality.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a change.
Older, wiser manager.
Whether he had to or not.
I don't think it's going to be a permanent change. That's the narrative. He's like, is this side evolving to become more pragmatic?
So what he'll do is, once he gets himself back to the position he was once in before, he'll go back to type, which is being able to play the way he wants to. But he's not at that stage yet. He's accepting that his team is in transition, that he hasn't got to the level that he needs to get to, where he can do what he wants in a game, which is what they did previously.
Yeah, because he felt Arsenal.
So the point is well
better.
made then, isn't it?
Well, this is it. And then when you look at Arsenal, many felt that
I bet you
Arsenal
do.
played too much with the handbrake on. Arteta obviously spoke going into this game tonight, Arsenal up against Port Vale away, and that's live in talkSPORT. So speaking about Sunday, he said, hang on a second, we play with the handbrake on. This was Mikel.
The goals that we scored, the clean sheet that we had, the way we played against Manchester City, in the territory we play against Man City. But I mean, I cannot waste that opportunity. And if the intention of those comments, which ones are the good ones, positive, to be better for us, not to be so good for us. So depend where the comment is coming from. I think that's when I can analyze it. See what is the intention, what is the purpose of that? Because I had a lot of things using my phone. They could not believe what we did to Manchester City. And people that are coaches, managers, CEOs, presidents, so proud. And I look at the players and the people around. So I'm much more filled and fueled with that with other ones that they want to make that.
Mikel was getting club presidents, CEOs getting in touch. Never seen this before.
That's why you don't.
The way you played against Man City.
Interviews like that. That's why you don't like him.
Detail, yeah. He did. The proof is always on the pitch. You don't need to validate yourself. People who know football understand the evolution of the team. Arsenal are now in a position, because of him, where they don't go to big...
Is it in isolation? It's one thing to take all the plaudits for saying this is what you did to Man City, but Man City did it themselves because they were in transition.
But we're talking about the last
So are
few
we saying
years.
the best version of Manchester City would have had this done to them by the best version of Arsenal?
We're talking about Arsenal and what he's talking about in his interview.
But he's laying a claim to the fact that people are saying how wonderful he did to do this to Manchester City.
But I'm not agreeing he should have said that.
But the fact of the matter is, he didn't do it to Man City. Man City have done it to themselves.
No, that's not
They've
true.
turned themselves now
It's
because they
always a
haven't
bit of both.
transitioned into the same side.
Well, if Man City have turned themselves into that, why has no one else done it to them? Nobody.
But we're not disputing that Arsenal are at a level. They bloody well should be.
That's the point.
But
And that's what he's trying to validate.
It's not in a
Maybe in the-
vacuum, is it? It's not in a vacuum. It's not. You haven't got the best Man City going in having done to them. You've got a Man City that is a way away from what it was before. So Man City have declined. Arsenal have progressed.
Hold on,
so it's not a fair comparison.
Man City have been a good side for a long time. Arsenal haven't lost.
Not last year they were.
Arsenal haven't lost to Man City for 3 seasons. Let's get that right.
No one's
So
disputing.
this ain't a one-off.
But Man City have been in decline for the last year. Do you accept that?
Yes.
Right. So then you're not comparing like for like. Arsenal have progressed. Man City
But I
have
wasn't.
declined.
You're
and
talking
of
about his comments, not mine. I'm saying I don't think he's gone about that the right way by making it this massive deal that they've pushed City
But I also
back.
don't think it's a true narrative.
Well, it is true because nobody else has done that to City. Hence the fact the numbers tell you that no game in
But
City...
they all did it to him last year.
No, they didn't, Simon. You're missing the point.
Didn't they?
Nobody... City, let me give you some facts. Man City
Your version of
had least possession in that game since Pep got there.
Right. Okay.
Right?
That's a good statistic.
That is a hell of a statistic
It's a great
from a
statistic.
team...
It helps your argument and doesn't help mine.
Well, exactly.
I don't like that statistic.
No, it's a big one because it shows you how dominant they were. Look,
Yeah.
the reality is this. City aren't what they were. And Arsenal didn't beat them. So, take from you whatever you want.
So are they both right?
I
Are
think...
Pep and Arteta both right?
They've both got valid points. It's just how you communicate them. I personally think, and I might be wrong, and we said this on Monday, I think Arsenal are in a really good place.
Yeah.
And I think they'll be up there at the end of the season.
Okay, Danny, let him win. It's his birthday. It's Jim White, Simon Jordan and Danny Murphy live on talkSPORT with Selco, where the trade goes.
Thomas Franks left the door wide open for a Harry Kane return to Spurs, saying he's welcome back anytime. talkSPORT's Adrian Durham's told us there's a reason why he said that.
I think that Thomas Frank might be thinking to himself, I want this out there. If he does want to come back, then let's bring him back next summer. I can't actually see it happening next summer unless Bayern Munich win the Champions League. I think that's the big thing for Harry Kane.
Kane would probably need at least another 3 Premier League seasons to become the league's all-time top scorer. He's 47 goals away from Shearer's record. Hugo Ekitike, meanwhile, has apologised to Liverpool fans, but it's too little too late for Arne Slot.
Needless, not smart. You call it stupid. I call it stupid, by the way, as well.
Ekitike got a second yellow for taking his shirt off to celebrate his winner against Southampton in the Carabao Cup. He's now suspended for the Palace game this weekend. talkSPORT's double Ashes winner, meanwhile, Steve Harmison, says Will Jacks's surprise inclusion in England's squad is as much about Stokes as it is about spin.
Even though it's a surprise, because he covers quite a few bases if England need a plan B for Stokes, or a spin bowler if we don't think it's going to spin that much that can lengthen our batting.
Loads more on talksport.com. Elsewhere, Boris Becker's told talkSPORT the survival mentality he learnt on the tennis court helped him through prison.
I couldn't just say, I'm going to give in. I'm going to give
It's showtime on talkSPORT with BetMGM. Get ready for the golden era of sports betting. Visit betmgm.co.uk or download the app. 18+gambleaware.org.
It's that time. We're joined by Lord Charlie Robertson from BetMGM to look at some of the top sporting events and the odds around and about them. Charlie, thank you so much for joining us. Good morning to you. We spoke briefly there about what's on tonight, and what's on tonight is the Carabao Cup third round live in talkSPORT. Port Vale, Arsenal, what are you thinking?
Yeah, morning guys, and happy birthday, Simon. Yeah, as you mentioned, Jim, four games in the AFL Cup tonight. All the Premier League teams are really short price favourites, Jim. And as you mentioned, yeah, talkSPORT game is Arsenal's trip to Port Vale. The Gunners are just 1-12. The draw's 9-1 and Port Vale are 24-1, Jim. And just in terms of trying to find a little bit of value tonight, I thought all 4 Premier League teams -1 on the handicap. So effectively they've got to win by 2 or more goals at 3-1 could be a solid play, Jim, with all the teams very short prices.
Very good indeed. We spoke about Nottingham Forest travelling to Spain, to Seville, to play Real Betis, of course, tonight. talkSPORT 2, it's live. Europa League, they're back in European football in that landscape for the first time in 30 years. What are you thinking, Charlie?
Yeah, Ange has actually got a really good record in this competition, Jim. Obviously won it with Spurs, and he lost just 2 of his 15 games as Spurs manager in this competition. Forest are 11-5 to get the win. Betis, who obviously last season conference finalists, are 27-25, and the draw is 13-5. Danny, just on Forest, I just wanted to ask you about sort of from a player's perspective, what it's like when there's a managerial change like there's been at Forest as early as this. Is it quite a hard thing to sort of get around a different sort of managerial style, and the fact he might want to change things massively, considering you've only had a few games with the old manager and now you're doing something different with a new one?
It can be. I mean, it depends on the individual. There'll be some individuals who will be really relieved and happy that someone new's coming in because they'll feel like the slate's clean if they've been out of the team. There'll be some who would have been comfortable playing that way who are now more exposed and not liking it. There'll always be a teething period. Is that the right word?
Yes.
Yeah, teething
Yeah.
period.
Yeah.
So I expect there to be some good and bad for the next month or two, till he finds the system and team that he wants, because he's got a lot of competition for places.
Yeah.
A lot of different types of characteristics in that squad now. So I don't think it will be as smooth sailing as maybe some people think. I think it's going to be a bit of a roller coaster.
I'm glad you said that, Danny. I have a dental appointment on Monday. Sorry, carry on, Charlie.
No, I was going to ask Danny how you, as in general, how he thinks Ange's going to get on at Forest. I think it's, as you say, it could be a teething period, as Danny mentioned.
Well, my gut feeling is that they've set the bar really high last season, and they're going to struggle to achieve that again, especially in the Premier League. And I don't think they'll win the Europa League. I think there's a lot of good teams in there, and I think they'll struggle to mix.
Other than that, he's going to fly.
No, I think they'll be okay. It's got lots of good players, and they'll have some good results and some good area at times where their form will be okay. But they're not going to. I don't think they're going to beat their points tally from last season, and I don't think they win the Europa League. But maybe if they do well in one of the cups again. I think they got knocked out semis, was it, last time? So we'll wait and see. But no, there's a ceiling on Forest, unfortunately, and like a lot of clubs, because they're competing against such powerhouses. And the reality is, most fans probably know that.
Do they beat Betis?
I
think they do. I think they do.
I don't know about Betis.
Why do you think they can't win the Europa League? Just out of curiosity. I mean, you saw the teams last year that won it and got to the final. Why don't you think that Forest could do well in the Europa League and actually potentially win it? What's
Because
the
I
substance
think
behind
there's
that
other better
argument?
teams.
Like whom?
Villa.
You think Villa?
Yeah.
What do you think to that, Jim?
I think Forest win tonight, and I think they go deep. I fancy Forest. If they can get something going there, the fans back, first time in 30 years, they've got a manager who won it last year.
They've got some really good players. They've got some really good players, but I can tell you from first-hand experience, and we've seen it recently, the first season you go back into Europe, and it's not the Conference League, this is Europa League, so good games, good quality games. Mixing that with Premier League, it's hard. It takes time.
Okay, we take your point. We bow to your football knowledge.
Do you know what? I'd like to be wrong. I think it'd be brilliant.
I think it'd be brilliant if they were to go all the way in that.
Yeah, it'd be absolutely
What a great
amazing.
story around Ange as well,
Yeah,
irrespective of where they might be in the Premier
I'd be
League.
happy to see it.
Okay. Charlie, how patriotic do you feel about Team Europe going into the Ryder Cup?
I'm not. I don't think we're going to win. If that's what you think, Jim. I think,
not why I asked you.
I think one of your callers mentioned it earlier. I'm not sure it's patriotism as much as support, but I know I'm in huge support of Europe, and I think it's an amazing event. But I do think it's the dynamic between patriotism and support is probably slightly different for the Americans versus the Europeans, as I think Simon mentioned earlier.
So who do you lean towards then?
Yeah, I'm big into the Americans. Unfortunately, I think they'll win. I think they'll win comfortably. I think an away Ryder Cup is so hard. I mean, I was at Rome in 2023, Jim, and it's a horrible atmosphere for away teams. Like I was looking at the markets earlier. I think the Americans to win by 7 or more points at 4-1 is a really fair bet. I don't think we're necessarily going to struggle. I just think the Americans will have too much for us, and I do think Scotty Scheffler at 12-1 to win all 5 points could be a nice bet as well. I think he's going to have a really, really strong competition. Danny, I just want to get your thoughts on something. We had a bit of fun in the sort of BetMGM Brains Trust meeting this morning. We basically ranked all the American and European golfers by world ranking, and basically sort of pitched them against each other and basically figured out who would win. I was wondering if you could have a crack at it. I basically had the Americans to win 9.5, 2.5. So that's how I see it. Matt Gibson actually was Europe 8.5, 3.5.
Good old Matt.
Was slightly on the fence at 6-all, but I was wondering, Danny, if you could have a crack at it and we could sort of see how you see it. So we'll kick off with Scotty versus Rory. Danny, how would you see that one going?
Oh, the two best players in the world, 50-50.
Easy one for you.
I'd go Scotty on form.
Yeah. Okay. Fleetwood v Henley is the next one.
Fleetwood.
This is good. Let me just say, Charlie, the listeners should tune in here because Danny's in the know. So I'm making.
But these might not be paired. These
might not be the pairings, but I know where you're going with it.
Schauffele v Rahm is next up, Danny.
Schauffele's been struggling, Rahm, and he hasn't played for a while. Schauffele because I think his wife was having a baby. She hasn't played for a few weeks.
And then we've got Big Bob McIntyre against Justin Thomas would be the next one.
Oh, Bob.
Yeah.
He's had a better season. Yeah, Bob.
Would you take Bob as well, Simon?
Yes, definitely.
Bryson v Hovland next for you, Danny.
Oh, that's a tough one. I think with the way he gets going with the crowd, I'll go Bryson.
Oh,
yeah.
I love Hovland.
Yeah.
JJ Spawn v Justin Rose. They're tough, aren't
he's
they?
a rookie, Spawn. Go Rose with the experience.
Yep. Morikawa Hatton.
Hatton.
English Stracker.
English. Brilliant putter, steady as a rock.
Griffin Aberg.
Oh, God. They're
That's Aberg.
Unbelievable players. I go Oberg, yeah. Big. He does well in the majors. He seems to do well under pressure.
Cam Young, Shane Lowry.
You got to go Shane with the experience.
Yes.
Cam Young's a beautiful golfer.
Where's your 9.5, 2.5 now, Mr. Robertson?
Cantlay Fitzpatrick.
Cantlay.
Don't like him.
You don't like him?
Not really.
No, he's not likeable. He's cold.
Yes.
But he's ruthless.
Don't like cold.
And then finally, Sam Burns v Højgaard, Danny.
Probably have to go Sam Burns on home. Sorry. Højgaard's a rookie.
Is this going to go on much longer?
That's the last one.
We're done.
Well, I've read Lord of the Rings quicker than I've listened to this.
Just get back on your phone, working out your birthday party later.
If he's not the centre of attention,
I know. It's like
he
a 4-year-old.
kicks off. How much longer has this got to go?
So what's the score?
7-4 to Europe, Danny.
There you go, Danny Murphy.
So if we're 3 points down Sunday morning and they're the pairings, we're good.
We're going to win. Yeah.
But a very
So there you
good
have
and
it.
a thoughtful prediction each time, Dan. So well
Riveting.
done with that. I'll go for that.
Just gets the
Big time.
juices flowing, even pretending who's going to play.
9.5, 2.5 for the US. You should be ashamed of
Yeah, you
yourself,
should.
Lord Charlie Robertson. Ashamed. Thank you for that, though. That was a look at Danny's odds for the Ryder Cup. And thanks to BetMGM. Visit betmgm.co.uk or download the app. You're getting into this, Simon, aren't you?
Oh, yes, I'm invigorated by it.
Very much so.
Open your mind sometimes.
18 plus.
It's wide open.
Be gamble aware. .org.
It's showtime on talkSPORT with BetMGM. Keep things golden with responsible play at betmgm.co.uk. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
It is a very big night, isn't it? And as you heard there, live on talkSPORT 2, Nottingham Forest back in Europe for the first time in 30 years as they travel to play Real Betis. Would love Forest to win there and then go on a run. That'd be terrific for all Forest fans everywhere. This fella's looking forward to it. Ryan Yates, captain at Forest, of course, and he's seen a lot in the last decade. Now, Max Scott here at talkSPORT sat down with Ryan and had a more than decent chat with him in the build-up to this. And he said, well, how did it feel from League One to Europe?
Yeah, it's incredible, yeah. Did you say 2005 we finished 7th League One? Yeah, it's mad. One of my first memories was I was away on a school trip when I was in year, I don't know, maybe year 5. And I think I might have just joined the club, been there for a year, and we'd just got promoted to the Championship. I'm thinking, I'm at a Championship club, it's incredible. And yeah, obviously Europe, just round the corner. Feels like it's taken ages for the first game to come. It's just so exciting to be part of that journey, and yeah, we want to do ourselves proud and do really well in the competition as well.
How confident are you? There is obviously an unknown, but how confident are you going into the tournament that you can really create something special?
Yeah, I feel like just Forest as a football club, if we get off to a good start, and you know, obviously we've got experience from the manager coming in from last season, massive strength in depth. You know, when Forest get rolling in any competition, especially the home games, are going to be absolutely massive. And yeah, I feel like, why not? Why can't we? I feel like the supporters have to dream, we have to dream. Yeah. We've certainly got an owner who dreams big. Yeah, it's an exciting time. We're on an upward trajectory, and yeah, you just have to... Obviously, it's all in the detail, but I feel like why can't we dream about lifting a trophy? Because that's our next step as a club.
Real Betis, obviously used to European football. The fixture schedule's been hectic, you know, particularly last couple of weeks. Yeah. What's the preparation been like? How much do you know about them? How much can you know about them? And how prepared do you feel for it?
I feel like it's the unknown for many of us. Certainly not the manager. And I think that's when he comes in and shows his experience. Obviously, we don't know much about Betis personally, but you know, going through things today on the training pitch, he certainly seems to know quite a lot. Him and his staff are going to be massively important for this game. You know, even the preparation for it's slightly different, and I feel like for me personally, I think it's quite exciting, a bit different, yeah, and something we're really looking forward to for sure. It's going to be some atmosphere, I'm hearing.
You know, having been away, Danny, from the European stage for so long, for someone like young Ryan Yates going in there tonight, first taste of Europe, I mean, does it take you back? Can you remember when you walked out for the first time and it was a European tie and you thought, God, right, this is a different kind of arena, a different landscape?
Yeah, obviously my first time was with Liverpool. I think the first one might have been Celta Vigo or Auxerre or somewhere like that. I was reasonably fortunate, though, because I'd spent my whole teenage years playing for the England 15s, 16s, 17s, 18s, 21s. So I'd been travelled and played in lots of different countries, and so it wasn't completely new. And a lot of the Forest lads have played in different leagues and come from different countries. So it's not like a group of young British naive lads who've never been abroad before, like you maybe was years ago. He's actually unfortunate, Yates, because he's a victim of their success. You know, he's not going to start many games now and hasn't really played much this season because of the signings like Douglas Luiz, Elliot Anderson, Gibbs White, Dominguez, all those types of players. Sangara, another one. So he's kind of, and this is the unfortunate thing, because he's a bit of a legend at Forest. He's come through the league.
Yeah, they love him.
Fans love him. He wears his heart on his sleeve. I think he's been captain as well.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, unfortunately, as teams have success, you know, those types of players just get a little bit squeezed out season by season. But hopefully he'll get some minutes maybe in this European game.
But for a dressing room, what does it do for the dressing room to be in this thing?
Oh, you're buzzing. You're buzzing. It's just new experiences, new stadiums, chance of success, playing in games that you never, maybe some of them wouldn't have thought they were going to be playing in. Just a real excitement about the place.
Yeah.
And for the fans as well. It's as a footballer, the more games you've got, that means the more successful you're being. And you just look forward to them all.
Yeah.
And also, as well, you don't have to train as much.
Exactly. I mean, Simon, we're not Forest fans, but you know,
I'm a big admirer of Nottingham Forest.
Oh, I am a fan, of course, but I'm not a scarf-wearing Forest fan.
Not like you were for Newcastle when they won the League Cup.
But I look at Forest, and I do think it does take me back, being the age I am, to when they won the European Cup twice, and what it meant. What it meant to English football, and of course I'm living in Glasgow.
How good was that side? Because that was a bit before my time.
Amazing
but
time.
What it did was this assembled group of players that were, you know, often cast off some other football clubs. By the time they won the European Cup, they'd brought Peter Shilton and Trevor Francis, so they were more of a side that was less parochial. But when they came up with, you know, Kenny Burns and Larry Lloyd and Viv Anderson, you know, and all these people, and obviously Martin. Martin O'Neill. They were a unique side and a brilliant brand of football, Woodcock and Birtles and all these different crowds. And yes, I grew up watching. The player I grew up watching was John Robertson. I was just an absolute adorer of John Robertson because I thought he was such a fabulous player.
Winger,
not a winger. He was a winger. But you know, I was of a great, and you could not, because
I didn't think you ever had any admiration.
That was the time. Well, I considered him to be an honorary Englishman because he was playing at an English football club. But we look at it, 77 with Liverpool, 78 Liverpool, wasn't it? 79 Forest, 80 Forest. I think it was 82 Villa, wasn't it? So you look at the dominance of English clubs in all of those European competitions at the time. And Forest were so incredible with Clough and all the personality that went with it. But we, you know, it was a different time to watch football, wasn't it? Because you watched it almost closed circuit to some extent, didn't you?
Well, that's right, and it's exactly that. I mean, when you think, and Forest fans, of course, don't need to be reminded of those times. They were phenomenal. But from Ange Postecoglou's point of view, that's exactly what he wants to tap into. Forest's great European history.
Yeah, I said it when I was a Celtic too. When a club's got a couple of stars on its badges, it's special, because you only earn them one way, and that is by winning a European Cup or a Champions League. And you know that you can't literally you can't buy that. You know, you have to earn that, and only very few have earned that right, and we carry it on our shirts. And I think when you carry like that, something on your shirt, then you can tap into it, because it shows you that, you know, there's the possibility always of success if you dream of it and work hard for it. And you know, when you go out there, you're representing not just, you know, today's fans and you know, today's sort of players, but also those in the past that have got you to where you are today.
Danny, is Ange right? That is something, that history, that pedigree in Europe that they can lean into.
No, to being honest, no.
Seriously?
Well, how'd you lean into it?
4 generations, 40 years ago.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
So when Preston play in the FA Cup, can they lean into that then? Because they won it 70 years ago.
But it makes Forest different. It puts Forest in a different light to others who've never even been close over the years.
To whom? Not to the players on the pitch. To maybe fans or people working on the game. But in terms of when you play a game of football, when you're going to Seville to play a team in 27-degree heat, you don't. When you're 64 minutes in, chasing somebody and you're not thinking of the team. And,
I get that. But before you go out, though, did you not feel about the history of the Liverpool shirt, what it meant to you, what it gave to you, the pedigree in Europe, what they did, what they'd achieved?
It was current.
Yeah, well, it was continual, wasn't it, for us at Liverpool? And the expectancy was there. So the expectation, it's not so much about Europe, just winning trophies. We had to win. And that was ingrained in you from the minute you went through the door. Forest's a bit different. This is new to a huge amount of their supporters. This is their first journey into Europe.
Yeah.
So a lot of these players won't have any recollection of it, whereas I was growing up on it. So I did, and I was a local lad, if you like. So
yeah, I mean, as Ange said, you look at the 2 stars on that shirt.
They're just words, empty words.
Seriously?
Not seriously, yeah.
They don't think it's for the fans more than...
Well, they're playing for the fans anyway, aren't they? They're playing for themselves and the fans every time they wear the shirt. They're going to try just as hard. I don't think a Forest player they've brought in for 30-40 million quid from France or Spain or wherever is going to look down at 2 little yellow things on his thing and run around more, do you?
Have you got a feeling about Forest in this competition,
Yeah,
Simon?
I do.
They could go all the way.
Yeah, I do. I think that the appointment of Postecoglou, which was probably sounded out way before the end of Nuno Espirito Santo, which was determined by himself and by Marinakis.
Yeah.
I think there's a tournament for them to win. I don't see why they won't. I know that Danny's probably right in the greater scheme of things. It's more difficult to balance, and I'm giving it the proper dispensation to acknowledge. But I think that they will go into this tournament fancying it. And I don't think that teams like Betis should trouble them that much. Maybe the climate and playing in the heat that they're playing, because it will be very dry heat in Seville. And it will be 25, 26 degrees, so they won't be able to play handball even if they can.
Could you not just say 27 just to agree with me?
Well, no, because it's 27 now, because I've just looked at it. It'll be 25 by the time the sun goes down when they play.
Oh, you're doing some research.
Yeah, Michael Fishmate over here.
Looking at your weather app. This Chris, who's a big fan of this show, big Forest fan as well. Come on, Jim, you're a tricky tree, which is an affectionate term apparently for a Forest fan. Just admit it. Tonight I will be. Of that, there is no doubt. I absolutely will be. Come on, Forest, go out there and win it. And it's live in talkSPORT 2. We're at 12 noon.
talkSPORT Sports Update, powered by the Nissan Van Range. Supporting van owners to get the job done. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
With your headlines, it's just coming up to 3 minutes past 12. I'm Nick Ellaby. Good afternoon. Thomas Frank's left the door wide open for Harry Kane to return to Spurs. He's welcome back any time. talkSPORT's Adrian Durham told us there's a reason why that was said.
Thomas Frank might be thinking to himself, I want this out there. If he does want to come back, then let's bring him back next summer. I can't actually see it happening next summer unless Bayern Munich win the Champions League. I think that's the big thing for Harry Kane.
Kane would probably need at least another 3 Premier League seasons to become the league's all-time top scorer. He's 47 goals off Shearer's record. Hugo Ekitike has apologised to Liverpool fans after his second yellow in the Carabao Cup win over Southampton. Arne Slot's called him stupid for taking his shirt off to celebrate the winner. Meanwhile, David Moyes has tried to play down the significance of Everton losing to Wolves after he made 7 changes. Danny Murphy told White and Jordan Moyes should really have put a stronger team out.
4,000 Everton fans that went down there,
yes,
and paid their money. They were expecting to go through and see the best team play, and they didn't. So they've got every right to be fuming.
Tonight on talkSPORT, Port Vale versus Arsenal is live. Real Betis versus Nottingham Forest in the Europa League's live on talkSPORT 2 later. And Boris Becker's told us he can only return to Wimbledon when he's allowed back in the country. He's still barred following a stretch in prison after that fraud case.
I'm working close with the Home Office and the Ministry of Justice just to give them enough reasons for me to come back. You know, I love London, I love Wimbledon. I think once I'm allowed back, I'm talking then with the responsible people at the tournament.
You can see the full interview with Boris Becker on the talkSPORT YouTube.
talkSPORT News.
An investigation says migrants in UK asylum hotels are getting taxpayer-funded taxis to appointments, and a man's been arrested after Heathrow and other European airports were hit by a cyber attack over the weekend. More from the news team at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. At QuickFit, we're all about keeping you safe on the road. With our comprehensive motor insurance, we're here for every journey. Search QuickFit Motor Insurance to find out more.
Largely dry and sunny, turning cloudier this afternoon though. A few light showers around in the south, breezy in the far northwest and southeast.
Mid-mornings and into the afternoon as well. It's 5 past midday. On this day, Simon Jordan's birthday, Alan McCoy's birthday, the birthday of Theo Papitas, maybe the birthday of your good selves. It is Wednesday, September the 24th. It's Jim White, Simon Jordan and Danny Murphy, and we are all live on talkSPORT. So many of you watching the show nowadays, and we're delighted about that. And you can do that in a variety of ways. Apple TV, Android, Google TV, even Prime Video. Wherever we are there for you, and you can watch us live between 10 and 1 weekdays on talkSPORT. Change of sport this lunchtime. No doubt Simon will throw his hat into the ring in this one, because this is an extremely interesting sequence of events. It is the world of F1, and here's a question for you. How far back in time should someone be allowed to go to right what they perceive to be a sporting wrong? Let me explain. A legal battle over Lewis Hamilton's 2008 Formula One World Championship win over Felipe Massa will be heard right here at the High Court next month. Now, it's an interesting one, this. F1, the thing is dubbed Crashgate. Crashgate, a scandal which is due to begin more than 18 months after former Ferrari driver Massa lodged a claim for damages in connection to the outcome of the 2008 title standings, which he lost to Hamilton by a single point. Now, this is key here. The crux point came during the Singapore Grand Prix during that season, where Renault allegedly secretly ordered Nelson Piquet Jr. to crash his car, which helped teammate Fernando Alonso win the race at Felipe Massa's expense. So now it's all ended up in court. Lewis Hamilton's spoken about this before. Back in 2023, he said of Massa's intended legal challenge, if that's the direction that Felipe wants to go in, well, that's his decision. I prefer not to focus on the past, whether it's 15 years ago, 2 years ago, or 3 days ago. I'm only interested in the present. I wonder what Martin Turner, former Sky Sports F1 director, has got to say about this. Martin, this is a curious one, isn't it? And it's all going to end up in the High Court. And one Felipe Massa is very keen to see justice done in his eyes, isn't he? Take us back to that race back in 2008 and what actually happened.
First of all, happy birthday, Simon, talkSPORT's most erudite pundit. I can't forget that.
Thank you. That's very kind.
Back in 2008, and we didn't know about it in 2008, which is the important thing. In the Singapore Grand Prix, Nelson Piquet Jr., another Brazilian, deliberately crashed his car to help Alonso, his teammate, win the race. Now, the fact was we didn't know about it. So take us back to 2008 Brazilian Grand Prix, and Felipe Massa, it starts the race 7 points behind Lewis Hamilton. He has to win that race, and Lewis Hamilton has to finish 6 or below for him to win the World Championship at the home, or one of the spiritual homes of Formula One, Interlagos. Brazilians going mad for it. So Felipe Massa comes over the line. He's won the championship because going into the last lap, Hamilton was 6th. But during the last lap, Hamilton overtakes Timo Glock and finishes 5th and wins the World Championship by 1 point. Fast forward a year, in 2009, Nelson Piquet comes clean about Crashgate and suggests that he was asked to crash his car deliberately.
Martin, we're going to jump out and jump back in again to get a better line from you. Simon, you get the rough idea of this, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, the broad strokes is at the time there's a supposition that there was a cover-up and that the image of the sport was being protected by Max Mosley and by Bernie Ecclestone, who was the incumbent lead influence in the F1 sport, obviously prior to the sale of Liberty. It also seems to be turning on evidence that Bernie Ecclestone himself seems to have given in an informal interview where he suggests that he understood the situation, understood what had gone on, and did it for the well-being of the sport.
You're right, but he now denies that. I think Martin Turner is back with us. So carry on, Martin. Where does it take us from there as we head to the High Court here in London?
Well, as Simon says, I don't think there is any question that there were shenanigans and that Nelson Piquet Jr. did deliberately crash his car. There's 2 problems. One, how much should Felipe Massa receive in compensation if they regard that he should receive a compensation? And 2, should he receive the World Championship? I can't see the latter happening. There are 2 other examples. Damon Hill being deliberately nerfed by Michael Schumacher in 1994, and also Lewis Hamilton in 2021, where the race director Michael Massey changed the rules with 5 laps to go in a race that Lewis Hamilton would have then won the World Championship. So I don't think there's any chance of that happening.
What's the driver, Martin? Is the driver financial recompense or is it accreditation? Because if you don't get the accreditation in terms of the reputational re-establishment of winning a World Championship, you don't get the finances. This feels to me like it's a situation where it gets settled outside of a court by people threatening to sue one another, getting into a court hearing and then possibly coming to a settlement. Because if you can't be awarded the World Championship, then it has to be about money.
I think it's slightly more nuanced than that. Felipe Massa is a tragic figure.
Right.
He was going to be the first Brazilian since Ayrton Senna to win the World Championship. He did everything he could, and for about 45 seconds, he was the world champion, and Brazil was going wild. I think after that, in 2009, he had a very serious accident, and he never won another race, even though he was in Formula One for another 5 years. So I think there's a lot of validation about this, a lot of stuff that's very personal to Felipe, who is a lovely guy and feels very badly treated. And he was badly treated, and they're pretty brutal, the Brazilian fans. They're like British, English
but if he
football
doesn't
fans.
if your supposition is right, and I've no reason to suggest that it's not, that he doesn't get awarded a World Championship, how does he establish that validation? I mean, Nick DeMarco, who's representing him, is not an ambulance chaser. He knows his onions. So what does he achieve if he can't get given a World Championship? All he's going to be given in replacement of that is some money. Is that validation in and of itself?
I think it's validation in terms of his home country,
Right.
and they will see that he was wronged, because I don't think it's about the money. I think it's about his personal reputation and him being validated as someone who should or could have won the World Championship. Because, of course, if that race had been annulled at the time, who's to say that Hamilton wouldn't have done more to win the title in the last 3 races that occurred after it? So, because remember, Hamilton should have won the world title the year before in his first year. So this kind of
bad luck happens a lot in Formula One. It certainly happened to Lewis Hamilton in 2021 with Max Verstappen. So, but I think it is about validation, and I think it's about validation as a heroic figure rather than a tragic figure in Brazil.
I can see where Simon's going with it, though, Martin. Say he wins damages, and they're talking about the territory of £60 million, which is a very nice territory to be in. And as Simon rightly says, he's being represented, Massa, by Nick DeMarco KC, who we know on this show. Does that de facto mean he should have been given the world championship then?
Well, I think he will feel that it proves that he was closer to the world championship than he eventually became.
Right.
And as he only lost it by 1 point, I think it will be a personal satisfaction. Obviously, 60 million is a great degree of personal satisfaction. But I think because of the way the levels to which the Brazilian Formula One fans go to, I think it is very important in a way that it's probably not important anywhere else except perhaps Italy with Ferrari.
But the fascinating thing is, I mean, yes, if it's in a neighbourhood of 60 million, which is a very respectable neighbourhood, then of course you'd take the benefits of it. These numbers are thrown around. These numbers are thrown around to create fear. You see American class actions left, right, and centre for 100 million, and they don't get anywhere near it. But if it goes into court and we're turning evidence on the basis of, I mean, I've been in court for fraudulent misrepresentation, where it's one man's word against another. It's a very difficult case to prove. If he doesn't get, if they settle, or if they find some way to establish a financial remuneration, guaranteed, unless it's a court judgment, the people that are having to pay this restitution are going to want it to be very qualified, and I'm not going to allow him to do a victory lap saying, "See, I was a world champion."
Yeah.
I don't think he'll need to. I think the fact that they give it up will be assumed that he was wronged.
Okay.
One question for me to finish with, Martin. Why wasn't it investigated fully around that time?
Well, that's a very good question. Why wasn't it investigated in 2008? And then why wasn't it further investigated in 2009? I mean, Massa had a serious crash in 2009, so I think that's a part of it. But also,
doesn't it bring the sport the integrity of the sport into question? Isn't that the reasons why it would have been hushed away by Mosley and Eccleston, because it makes it look a bit corrupt?
Yeah, well, Bernie certainly said that he wanted to save the sport, and it wasn't something that he was responsible for. So, or Max Mosley or John Todd. So, it's a difficult one. Only they will know what their motivation was. I think. I can't speak for Bernie Eccleston, and I wouldn't want to. But certainly, as far as Felipe Massa is concerned, I do think he will think there's validation. He had the serious accident he had in 2009 effectively ended his potential for becoming a world champion. He was so close. He was world champion for about 40 seconds.
40 seconds. Wow. What a story it is. Martin Turner, always good to speak to you. I haven't seen you for a while, Martin. We'll do something about that very soon. Former F1 director and a colleague of mine at Sky Sports, the top man when it came to broadcasting the world of F1 and the races all around the world circuit. Martin Turner, thank you very much indeed. It should be emphasised that Bernie Eccleston and the FIA are said to be applying to the High Court to strike out Massa's claim, denying any wrongdoing and arguing his lawsuit is time barred.
You know what strikeout means, don't you?
Go on.
It means you don't even have a case. You're not even worthy of listening to.
Before it even starts.
Strikeout basically means you don't. Englishman always gets his day in court, right? That's the law of the land, respectively. If you strike someone out because I've done it, it means you got nothing to say. You haven't even got a case. Yeah. We don't even have to answer to you.
On that, Simon, how far back in time should someone be allowed to go to, as I said at the top of this, to right what they perceive to be a sporting wrong?
Well, it depends upon what the situation is. If you've been a victim of some degree of fraud or conspired and confected outcome, then you should go back until that's been righted.
Right, which is what Massa alleges.
Indeed.
Although that is strongly denied. We'll see if it does end up in court, just up the road from here, the High Court in London. Just gone 12:15.
No, it will.
It's Jim White, Simon Jordan and Danny Murphy. We're live on talkSPORT with Selco. It's where the trade goes. An interesting question this Wednesday lunchtime. Should Boris Becker be welcomed back to Wimbledon if that opportunity were to arise? The same Boris Becker was jailed last April for 2.5 years for hiding £2.5 million worth of assets, his assets and loans, to avoid paying his creditors. He was declared bankrupt in 2017 with debts of almost £50 million because of an unpaid loan of more than £3 million on his Spanish estate in Mallorca. So Becker is now out. He's now out of jail and getting on with his life. And he's written a book about his experiences. He joined the guys on breakfast this morning, and he was asked if he would be anytime soon coming back to Wimbledon.
Well, first of all, I have to be allowed back into the country. Because of my deportation, I'm not allowed back yet. So I'm working close with the Home Office and the Ministry of Justice just to give them enough reasons for me to come back. I love London. I love Wimbledon. I think once I'm allowed back, I'm talking then with the responsible people at the tournament. But I don't think that's going to be the issue. It's more me being allowed back into the country. In hindsight, you always know it better. Of course, there's a strong amount of regret. If I would have known for the things I've done, I would have been incarcerated. I wouldn't have done that. I think I served a very high price for it. I'm sorry, I apologize, but we all got to move on. I'm allowed to have a second chance.
And Simon, should that second chance
to be able to do, put him in a hotel at the same time? Yes, I think so. I mean, he makes a case. He's a recidivist. He didn't just do the situation once. One set of circumstances. He was involved in a series of them. But yes, I think so. I think he served his time. I mean, there was a balancing act. And, if you commit a crime in this country to certain degrees, you can never go to America. He's committed a crime in this country as a result of some of the things that he did. And so I understand why we should value those. And should there be an exception because he was a sporting giant that won Wimbledon? I don't know. I believe in second chances. I believe that if you've served your time, you've made your mistakes, however you made them, right, then you are free and clear to be able to get on with your life and not be judged by your past. But also on the side of things, I also think that there is a value in the opportunity of this country and the wonderfulness of this country, that if you have committed a crime once in this country, should you be allowed to come back in again? So I'm sort of conflicted. I don't want to be mean-spirited because I grew up watching Boris Becker when he won that title when he was 17 years of age. I remember watching. I was in France at the time, watching it on television, and I remember where I was when I watched it. And I watched him as a player. He wasn't my favourite player, but he was one hell of a player.
Why not? Why wasn't he?
I just think I grew up watching John McEnroe and players with that sort of ilk, and I wanted a bit more flair than Boom Boom Becker. But he was a brilliant player.
Just going back to your point, are you saying you're conflicted because he was a great tennis player?
I'm conflicted because I think that people should be given a second chance. So my natural leaning is towards, except people that murder children and do terrible things, I think they should be executed. That's a different discussion, right? But the fact of the matter is, I think that he served his time, and so how hard do you want to go on it? If he was an Englishman, I wouldn't want him banned from going to Wimbledon. But there's a different thing in play now. He's not an Englishman. He's a guest in this country, and so the parameters of being a guest in this country means there's certain standards. We would like to think. Of course, we don't live up to that by the nature of how we operate our immigration policy, but there's a certain standard that I would like to think that we would uphold people coming into this country.
Is his sporting legacy tarnished? His sporting legacy?
Well, he didn't cheat to win Wimbledon, did he?
Right. So as a former Wimbledon champion,
yeah, should he be given?
Can you take out what has happened to him in his private life and say, as a former champion, you're welcome back?
Yeah, well, yes, but that's not the issue, is it? Because if Wimbledon was being hosted as a tournament around the world, it would be a different issue. Wimbledon is hosted in England. The laws of the land were broken. He's been deported. And now what we're asking for is dispensation because he was a sports star.
Yeah.
You can't have that.
It doesn't really work, does it? When you actually boil it down, it doesn't really work.
When you're talking through, it can't.
Yeah. Do you go with his defence, his personal defence, that he wasn't fully up to speed with what was going on around and about him? And maybe that he'd been let down by some of the advisors that he had at that time.
Yes and no. I mean, I think it must be a wonderful, rarefied air to live in, that you borrow money from people and you don't have to pay it back and you don't pay any interest on it. That must be a rarefied air, or you're just stupid and you've chosen not to be party to that conversation because it suits you to. I mean, I don't know how good his advisors were or how good his advisors weren't. I've seen the documentaries on it. I've watched the situation. I've read his books. So I've seen, you know, I'm sure the women in his life would have a view about how much integrity Boris Becker has. He'd take him at face value. If I was asking the question of him, I'd say, did you really think that you weren't paying interest? And I'm pretty damn sure that John Caldwell, who I know very well, who used to own phones for you, would have made it pretty clear to him and his advisors, unless he abdicated responsibility, unless he ceded all power of attorney to his lawyers and to the advisors around him, then that makes him a fool, and a lazy fool too, with respect. I mean, you don't end up in prison for financial matters because it's a mistake more often than not.
If you're going to borrow money to that scale, you're going to pay interest on it.
But there is also the other side of the argument that when you're an elite sportsman, and he will tell you this to some extent, you know people like to rub you, metaphorically. They want to be around you. They want to buy you a drink. They want to do you a favour. They want to be around you because it gives them some feeling of validation. So there is a part of me that suggests that maybe the little ivory tower that Boris Becker had put himself into, because don't forget he was a superstar in Germany. He was a proper superstar.
Oh, yeah.
That he could have convinced himself in some back recess of his mind that these guys, he was doing them a favour by allowing them to lend him money because of the association they got from this. That's not beyond the wit of man.
Sure.
I think it's unlikely. I'm trying to give him a pass in this situation.
Maybe we'll need to read the book to find out. We're at 12:30 from the Boris Becker situation. We're going to head out to New York, where it's all the talk about who's going to win the Ryder Cup.
himself, I want this out there. If he does want to come back, then let's bring him back next summer. I can't actually see it happening next summer unless Bayern Munich win the Champions League. I think that's the big thing for Harry Kane.
Kane would probably need at least another 3 Premier League seasons to become the league's all-time top scorer. He's 47 goals away from Shearer's record. Hugo Ekitike, meanwhile, has apologised to Liverpool fans, but it's too little too late for Arne Slot.
Needless, not smart. You call it stupid. I call it stupid, by the way, as well.
Ekitike got a second yellow for taking his shirt off to celebrate his winner against Southampton in the Carabao Cup. He's now suspended for the Palace game this weekend. talkSPORT's double Ashes winner, meanwhile, Steve Harmison, says Will Jacks's surprise inclusion in England's squad is as much about Stokes as it is about spin.
Even though it's a surprise, because he covers quite a few bases if England need a plan B for Stokes, or a spin bowler if we don't think it's going to spin that much. That can lengthen our batting.
Loads more on talksport.com. Elsewhere, Boris Becker's told talkSPORT the survival mentality he learnt on the tennis court helped him through prison.
I couldn't just say, I'm going to give in. I'm going to give up. I have to find a way. And I think that was something that helped me on a tennis court a lot.
Becker served 8 months at HMP Wandsworth following a fraud case. You can watch the full interview with Ali and Alan on the talkSPORT YouTube page.
We understand that it's going to be a big challenge, but I'm very excited about my team, the form we have coming into this.
Please make some noise for the winners of the 2023 Ryder Cup, led on by their captain, Luke Donald. It's Team Europe!
You can go wherever you want with all the detail. The bottom line is, can the players perform in a hostile environment?
And Europe has pulled off the improbable.
Making the team is not the trophy. You know, it's not a participation award. It's a nice thing to say you've done, but really, when you represent your team, you want to be able to win the thing.
I catch myself every now and then looking down the fairway, seeing the guys walk down the fairway and think how badly I'd want to do that. But I feel like I've been called for a bigger cause here.
If you have those experiences that you remember for the rest of your life, that's worth more than a couple $100,000 in the back of your pocket.
We cannot wait for this. The Ryder Cup. What can Europe do in what will be an intense atmosphere over there in the US of A? Let's head there now. Simon, myself and Danny at this end. Over in New York, of course, it's all going to go down at Bethpage this weekend. talkSPORT's golf correspondent is Rupert Bell. Rupert, hi to you. Early morning for you over there, my friend. Thanks for getting up and joining us. How do you feel? You've been there for presumably 2 or 3 days now. How would you describe the pre-tournament feel of the place?
Well, it drags. It's interminable because obviously we've been here since Monday. We don't start till Friday, but that's all part of it. The shadow boxing that goes on before. And yesterday the fans were allowed in. I don't think there were too many Europeans. There was a great charm offensive by the European team, signing autographs left, right and centre and engaging with the fans. That is very much, I think, part of Luke Donald's mantra to try and win the PR battle. But it definitely, there is a sense that this European team, and certainly the way they're trying to create the PR buzz, that this is our time, this is our place, and they're trying to put the Americans on the back foot. But it won't be easy. But I do think with the fact that they've got 11 players from their win in Italy who all seem to know how to play over here to, really good standard, they won't be intimidated, except if the crowd goes over the top.
Rupert, it's Danny here. What do you? I saw a lot of the footage yesterday. I was amazed to see how much they've cut the rough back. You know, because obviously Bethpage is known to be one of the toughest courses. And how thin some of those fairways are seems ridiculous. But actually, when they were throwing the ball into the rough, it was sitting up nicely. And I mean, I think they've done it obviously for the reason that they think they can whack it down there and they're better with their short irons, is what I'm hearing from the stats. But I was surprised because actually, statistically, the European players are longer generally than the Americans.
Yeah, well, this is the point. I think they're all much of a muchness. They all can grip it, rip it, and then they can all hack it out, and to a lesser or greater extent. And I don't think the Europeans will be overly intimidated by that. It will come down to a putting contest. Now, we got rain forecast, so that might slow the greens down, and that might be perceived as an advantage to the Europeans. But it will, and the Ryder Cup does often come down to who can hold the best putts, because, and if you're holding them regularly from 20 feet and more and winning the hole, then that will be the advantage. That's who ends up winning it. So yes, they can rip it down the fairways, and look, not everyone's easy. There's some really demanding holes here. But ultimately, they have made the course so that they feel it can become a birdie fest. And that's what the fans will want in the end. We don't want to be seeing people grinding it out. That's not what the Ryder Cup's about. It's about people attacking the flags and then trying to win the hole that way. And that's what the fans will be wanting to see.
I mean, Rupert, you are experienced to say the least of it. Let me ask you this. Team USA, you're the man for this occasion. Team USA have only lost 4 times at home in the 98-year history of the Ryder Cup. If Europe win this thing, if Europe go out and win at Bethpage this weekend, Rupert, how will it be remembered? What will you have witnessed?
I'll put it into context. Since Europe have represented and played in the Ryder Cup, it's a much better story. We've won 4 of them, and that we never before. It was basically a bit of a glorified exhibition. But it's since we've become Team Europe, this is where we've been successful. The problem now in recent years, since Medina, which almost feels like a bit of an outlier, it is easy for the home team to win, whether it be Europe or America. And we've seen some one-sided scorelines. If they win, then Europe, this will go down as one of their greatest victories, because with the crowd maybe stacked against them and everything else, it will be a fabulous achievement. And that's what Luke Donald is drumming into the team, and the way they see it. We can create a bit of golfing history, and our 37 players have won in America, of which 2 of them are Luke Donald has, Justin Rose has, and Rory McIlroy have. None of the others know what it's like to win here, so they have a moment to join some of the greats of European golf by winning over here. And I think they've got a really genuine chance.
Oh, that's good to hear. How intense does it get? How hostile does it get over there? I mean, do the organisers turn a deaf ear to it? Or do they let it go because it's all part of it and it gives the USA the edge?
Well, I think if it goes beyond what might be deemed acceptable, I'm sure they might be trying to say that's not right. But when we were in Italy, we know it's going to be one-sided. The players know that. They're not naive. But it just what the barbs are. And if someone, some boorish American then says barbs about somebody's wife or something, which can occasionally happen, that's when you suddenly think, oh, this isn't the point. Let's have good nature. Well, the Americans, let's see if they can come up with a chant beyond USA, 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 because I don't think they haven't shown it. But let's hope we also hear the odd European chant that shows a bit of creativity, just to throw it back at the Americans. But I'm looking forward to it. I just hope it remains within the bounds of acceptability. But if America struggle in the first session on Friday, then I think the Europeans will quieten the crowd. Remember, Donald Trump's coming in on Friday afternoon, so he'll be whipping and hollering and getting the crowd fired up here in New York. So it could get a bit lively, but hopefully Luke Donald's preparation has ensured the players will cope.
Rupert, just on the first games, because it's foursomes, isn't it, first? Right? There is a lot of talk about him sticking with some of the pairings that started over in Italy. Do you think that's going to be the case, or do you think we're going to see him mix it up a little bit?
I think he might go for better the devil you know. And why not? We've got the 11 team, and they are, if Rory McIlroy's going out and some of the others who all knew, we got off to a flyer in Italy. Why can't we do the same here? So I think it would be I can see easily that happening. It's uncomplicated. He's keeping it simple. He'll send out, and they're all playing well. So why not? And I think that's what he'll do. And if we win that session, then that will be just the boost the Europeans need, because often if you win that session, you then go on to win the Ryder Cup.
The Americans, Rupert, are being paid to play in the thing. We know that, unlike the Europeans. And the captain, Keegan Bradley, on Monday, I think it was, explained as to why they're going to get paid.
Well, the PGA of America came to me. They wanted to bring the Ryder Cup into the present day. The charity dollars hadn't changed since 1999, and they asked me to sort of shepherd their way into making it into 2025. I think for everyone it's a personal decision. A lot of guys aren't comfortable sharing what they're going to do with their money, but we're going to donate. And I'm not concerned about what Europe does or what they think. I'm concerned about what my team's doing. And I was tasked with the job the PGA of America asked me to do, and this was what we decided. And we wanted to bring the Ryder Cup into today's age, and we felt like this was the best way to do it.
And then fast forward to yesterday, Rupert, and it was announced that the Americans would be giving all of those payments to charity. Have they been embarrassed into donating their payments to charity?
I think it's probably to some extent, yes. But I think what they've all said, they've come up. Patrick Cantley, who was the one who was the big problem in Italy, and of course was asked about the cap that fits. Oh yeah, they found a time to get that sorted, blah blah, whatever. I would suggest that it's almost like a 3-9 whip now, because they don't know. If 300,000 was going to charity, they don't know what 200,000 is. They're all incredibly rich men. That to donate to charity, it makes them look good. But if one of them breaks ranks and won't actually probably say, by denial, I'm keeping it private, you almost feel that's, well, what are you doing with it? Are you keeping it? So it's a difficult one for them to get the PR balance right. But Keegan Bradley has set the tone. Patrick Cantley said he's donating all his money. Scotty Scheffler's saying he's donating all his money. So, and doing it to local charities. So they're sort of creating a sort of PR feel-good factor. Rather than the PGA of America saying we'll do the money, they can then say, look what we're doing for our local communities. So that's where they're trying to get the PR back on track as far as they're concerned.
Rupert, you have a long day ahead. It's only, 20 to 8 over there in the morning. Thank you so much for joining us, Rupert Bell. And, of course, don't forget talkSPORT right across the Ryder Cup throughout the entire thing this weekend. We're coming up to 1:45. Thanks for joining us on this special day for Mr. Jordan, Mr. Pafitas, Mr. McCoy, their birthday day. It's Jim White, Simon Jordan and Danny Murphy as we approach 1 o'clock this Wednesday lunchtime. Later on today, Newcastle United begin their Carabao Cup defence. They're at home to Bradford City tonight. We'll see who comes out of that. And of course, Newcastle these days, no Alexander Isak in the lineup. He's off to Liverpool and that's where he plies his trade from this point onwards. Eddie Howe's been talking about that and what losing Isak has meant to the team, to him.
We've had the biggest change to the squad in my time here, and as you say, in an ideal world you have a full 6-week pre-season, you iron out any issues that you have, and then you're forming your partnerships and team relationships as you start the season. Really, they're formed. I think we're in that position now where we're going to have to do it as we play, but I've got no issue with doing that. I've done it before. I'm excited about the team that we can be. We certainly got things to learn about each other and formulas to try and generate that we know will work. But yeah, I think the biggest thing is the foundation's solid. The team's playing, I think, with strength at the moment, but we're just missing that sort of X factor that I think will come.
Eddie Howe, Newcastle going against Bradford tonight. Danny, what can this Newcastle team be this season, do you think? What have they got in them?
Well, they've got lots of quality and they've got more numbers now than they've had in previous seasons. You know, players fighting for positions, which is what he's wanted all along. It wasn't so long ago they were on a Champions League run playing the same 11 for about 6-8 weeks, if I remember.
Are they weaker or stronger now?
Stronger in most areas. I mean, they've brought in 2 to replace Isak. So 2 players of different qualities. Obviously, Wiss is injured. Voltemada's got off the mark, but they're both very different and not as rounded as Isak. So they've definitely lost something in him because he's one of the best strikers in Europe. But they'll find a way because they've got really talented players and he's not so reliant now. I mean, even if you look at the game the other day, they changed the midfield from the Barcelona game, which wouldn't have been able to. He wouldn't have been comfortable doing. Probably even last season. Certainly not the one before when they were in Europe. So I think it's going to be an exciting season for them. I think they've got some areas to improve. Those relationships he's talking about, he's right. They do take time. Learning how to play with different strikers and building those relationships is something all clubs do and have to wait for when they get new players. But I don't think he'll use it as an excuse. I don't see it as an excuse. They've got enough quality to have a good run in the Champions. Sorry, Sean. Got enough quality just to finish. They should still have a good run in the Champions League. They've got really, really good strength and depth now, and I expect them to be top 6 in the Prem.
It'll be interesting to see if he rotates the team against Bradford, because obviously if they were to lose, I couldn't face the national outpouring of grief to lose in the League Cup that Newcastle fans will engender. But they've got Arsenal on the weekend, and they've got a Champions League game during the course of the week. And these are 2 big games coming up for them, and they need to get their Champions League campaign started. They need to try and qualify through that, because last time round they were very, very unlucky after having a great result against PSG to have gotten eliminated from the Champions League group. The way the tournament is now set up favoured Aston Villa and gave Aston Villa an outcome that perhaps Newcastle could have looked forward to having themselves if they'd been in a new format. So he needs to get his Champions League campaign started. So insofar as the result this evening, you would expect them to be able to do a job on Bradford at St James's Park. But you can't lose Alexander Isak. Your squad is stronger. Your team is not. Your squad is stronger, but your best 11 is not.
Right. And I know you admire, like everybody else does, Simon, but you know a fair amount about the game, of course you do. And you admired Isak and admire Isak as a player.
Absolutely.
But is he a different guy now in view of how it was all done in your eyes?
But he didn't know him, did he?
I didn't know him. I don't really care too much for his behaviour. I don't think it's admirable. I don't think it has any excuses behind it. I think the backstory that they ponied up was a load of old nonsense. And I think Newcastle should have quashed it and squashed it earlier in the game. So I think that the fact that he got carried away with himself and it all became for want of a better word, for cultural appropriation and Mexican standoff, I think it should have been dealt with by Newcastle's owners filling the vacuum by saying, son, you don't get to say that. But they didn't, and it's gone. and the player will move on, and we'll judge him by his performances. We've always made excuses for footballers. We've always said it's what they do on the field. That, you know, when they come off the field, they can be whatever they want to be, as long as they're good on the field. And I don't like that. But some would say, well, he got what he wanted. He engineered the outcome. Newcastle got a big bag of money.
But you say you don't like it, but you did also say recently, I listened to you talking about footballers shouldn't need to be role models.
I'm not asking to be a role model.
But you're asking them to behave like some sort of moral...
No, I'm not. I'm asking for the narrative to be accurate and the representation to be honest, and not to sit there and listen to that crap that I had to listen to that was spooned out by him and his advisors about what he thought he was entitled to and what he thought was said to him. That's what I object to, not the fact he has to be a role model to a kid, because my kid I'd like to be the role model to my kid.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I'd like to have the standards, not some footballer.
I suppose the argument will always boil down with the football situation, especially Isak's, is would he be wearing the Liverpool red now if he hadn't done what he'd done?
And be given the opportunity that it was given by Newcastle.
No, I'm asking the question because that's why players do.
Yeah.
Gets an outcome. Bad behaviour gets outcomes.
Without him now, Danny, where is Newcastle's X factor?
Well,
he's a super talent, but we'll have to wait and see between Wissa and Voltemada which one produces the best outcome. Both good players. I'm not sure either of them will produce the outcome that Isak did for them last season. But they doesn't mean they can't be successful.
Good, the boys got a goal. The new boy they brought in, they got off to a start.
Yeah,
you never know.
Yeah.
You never know. They've got wingers, they've got good players. They've got good players that can put a ball in. He could get a lot of goals.
Now, you've had a few birthdays in your time, and this is another. What was your most memorable? What was it? Can you ever remember the best night ever?
Oh, he can't.
Without getting into any kind of detail that we wouldn't want to go into this lunchtime, but an occasion that you... Did the specials play for you? Did you?
Oh, yes, of course. Yes,
yeah,
that was my 40th. Yes.
Was it your 40th?
Indeed.
And that was a memorable one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every day above ground is a good day, isn't it? I'm never going to be as young as I am now.
You're not wrong. Happy birthday, Simon. Danny, thanking you, my friend, as always. Have a good day, whether it's your birthday or not. We're coming up to 1 o'clock this Wednesday lunchtime.